It's not on the Batman shelf. But I do have a Batman shelf.
Why is it not? It should be. That is the
suppose it
stupidest
should
thing.
be. Well, if I can find it, I suppose the Batman mask should go on the Batman shelf. I have to do my Batman.
Baby.
Gotham.
And baby.
Gotham.
You won't be able to do Joker. Because I only ever think of...
Mark Hamill?
Yes.
You can kind of do a crazy Joker
okay, that
voice.
was good. I can't do it.
I'm Batman.
I can do Harley. I can do Harley Quinn, but she's not in this.
No. I thought you were going to say you could do Harvey, which is kind of like this when he's two-faced.
He's just angry. And you just have to clench your teeth the whole time. That's about it.
Yeah, I guess that's the key, because he's missing part
He's
of his
missing part of his mouth, so if you just clench your teeth, it kind of works.
Is that how we should
That's
start?
how I imagine it.
Yeah.
What?
Shelf Life. The podcast that's going to
and
stop.
then you kind of gotta do this voice from Catwoman, because I feel like that's kind of she'd have that gravel. You know, she has that like fry, that voice, that vocal fry.
You're doing your Black Cat impression though.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, same idea.
Like it's the same character.
She's very Black Cat in this to me. So she's got that vocal fry. The woman, what?
She's a femme fatale.
The femme fatale. Thank you.
Yeah.
So she's got to have that like.
Do you think that do you think that the mobsters talk with Italian accents?
Yes.
Like that Italian New York accent? Like I
just
gotta be
nice
wedding.
and heavy.
Yeah, Sophia
like
Gigante
all
does.
the glumps in there, they all talk like this.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Try the cannoli. Come on. Hey. My parents died. It's like Triple H. Hang on, I gotta do this better.
It's gotta be Triple H.
It sounds too much like that.
No, that's definitely Triple H when you go a little higher on it.
Okay, so go low. Like this. Batman. I'm Batman. Well, I can't do Kevin Conroy's Batman where he sounds like this. I'm Batman.
I want you to do that. Like you little kid Kevin Batman.
What does that mean?
I'm Batman.
This is Shelf Life, Volume 5. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast where a brother and sister team go through all things pop culture to determine whether or not the subject at hand belongs on your shelf, be that digital or physical. We're going through all sorts of genres here at Volume 5. It is the extra large helping of podcast stories. I don't know, podcast episodes that we're giving you here on this volume. Sure. I think that's probably right. And we are at the fall time of Volume 5 here, which is why we're doing this particular subject.
That's right.
I would have to say, Rachel, that it is time for us to bring in our good friend Bruce Wayne into the show, don't you think?
Hello, Bruce.
Hello.
You don't think Bruce has a different voice versus Batman?
No, I think he does, unless he's Lego Batman, but I can't do Bruce Wayne.
But you know what? I think Lego Batman is best
Lego Batman is on the list.
Great Batman.
I think Bruce sounds kind of like this. Oh, hello. No, that's too Superman-y. I think it's like, oh, hello, Selena. How are you tonight? Because then he has to.
It's kind of dorky.
Well, he's a billionaire playboy. You know, it's that thing. It's that whole thing. Did I say everything that we need to at the beginning? I think I did, right? I captured the essence of it. We're bringing to you a spooky episode today, or what we thought could be a spooky episode because of the title, and Kevin forgot what it was completely after reading it the first time about 15 years ago, and I was like, no, that's good clickbait. You got to get somebody to click on it because of the time of year it drops.
It still is.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know what? A noir can be Halloween-y.
Yeah, that's right.
There's murder.
Sure.
There's revenge.
And it happens.
Darkness.
It's bookended
with Halloween.
On Halloween.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Rachel, what is up for contention to the shelf today?
We are going to talk about 1996 Batman: The Long Halloween.
Because I'm Batman.
I thought you were going to want to do like a noir opening.
Oh, Yeah, that's
like,
that's
tonight,
a potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I could have done
we're
that.
talking about.
What's a noir opening though? Wouldn't that be saying Gotham? That would mean being like shelf life. I've been spending my whole life trying to figure out what belongs on people's
some jazz
shelves.
music in the background.
Yeah. Whether or not something is good enough to be in your collection forever. That's my mission. To decide whether or not Gotham belongs on the shelf. Will I succeed? It doesn't matter. All that matters is that the people get the truth. You want to try one, Rachel? You want to do a noir opening yourself there?
With what I have to say? I have no idea what to say. I almost went into Twilight Zone. I immediately almost went Twilight Zone-y.
It's close.
Kind of Twilight Zone-y.
Yeah, it's on the perimeter.
It's not the same, but it almost is.
Yeah.
But you gotta get like that big band sound.
Mm.
And you gotta make it like really like laid back and like mysterious. Get you that jazzy big band mood.
Yeah. Gotham.
Trench coats.
Shouldn't it be more Batman-y? Or do you think it's so noir?
Oh no, I think it's noir. To me, it's more noir.
Rachel.
On Shelf Life, you don't know which way it could go. We could double-cross you at any turn. But we will tell you what belongs on your shelf. I'm sorry, that was really bad. I tried. I used the words.
So yes, we are doing, I guess I should say, we are doing the Long Halloween. We are doing all 13 issues of Batman The Long Halloween, the Eisner Award-winning. Did the book win the Eisner? Or did Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale just win the Eisner? I can't remember. But it is by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. It is the Batman story. It is our first venue into Batman, into Gotham, into DC. In the comic world, we did Superman Volume 2. See the back catalog. The movie. Superman the movie Volume 2. Rachel, what is The Long Halloween about? And do you have any history with The Long Halloween?
So I don't have any history with The Long Halloween. But The Long Halloween is about I don't know why
is about
a killer who kills bad guys on holidays throughout the year.
Yeah, it bookended by Halloween, but it's not only on Halloween. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not Mike Myers only coming out on Halloween doing his thing.
No.
This guy does any holiday possible. He's gonna
year
do
long.
It.
Yeah, this is a year-long tale.
We'll get to it.
He does miss a couple. You're right. Yeah, this is a year-long tale that was published by DC.
Could you imagine if he did Hanukkah? Would it be like every night?
That's a great question, and he probably should have. That would have been a good way to get some more in there.
And they had a whole candlestick and
yeah. The whole menorah and everything.
Yeah, and he puts a new candle in each spot every night that he kills somebody.
So the book what
that doesn't happen. There's a dreidel.
Book was there's a dreidel, yeah.
Yeah.
The book was devised by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, but it was really the brainchild of Archie Goodwin, who was the editor at the time of DC Comics, and he had put Loeb and Sale on this Batman story where he was giving them Halloween specials. So they did a Halloween special for a couple of years as Batman.
Okay.
I have not seen these or read these or anything. This would have been like the early mid-90s. Apparently they were pretty good. They were very dark. They had the same pencil styling as this because it's Tim Sale doing it. At some point, Archie said to these guys, I really liked what you did. And this is all in the foreword. I have in front of me the trade paperback of The Long Halloween, which I will explain why I have that in a moment. But in it, he says, this is Jeff Loeb retelling the story because Archie Goodwin has passed away. That Archie said to them that he really liked what they had done with gangsters. And would they be interested in a film noir tale? And Jeff Loeb says that he doesn't remember doing anything with gangsters, but he remembered that in one of their first Batman stories, there was like a couple of pages where they had some different like gangsters in it,
Yeah.
like for a few pages. And they were just
Right.
thinking that Archie must have just really thought that was like good. And like, he was like, I want more of that. Give me more of that.
Sure.
He was like, I always liked what was in Batman Year One, which Rachel, Batman Year One was a story in the 80s that Frank Miller wrote, which was about like the origins of Batman. It's like the first year that he's Batman. It's like a young Batman trying to like figure out how to be Batman, and he's taking on the crime families. He's not there's no rogues gallery yet. Yeah. And they're saying, and he said that he doesn't think that Frank is going to go back into it, so you might as well like, why don't you do like a sequel to that? So they came up with this story about doing Halloween, like that was going to be their Halloween special, and Archie said, no, why don't you make it an entire year? In fact, Mark Waid, I guess, said, if you're going to do it in the Year One era, you have to include Harvey Dent in it. And so Mark Waid, who's another comics writer, was like, why don't you like make it a Harvey Dent origin story almost?
Oh, yeah.
So then they were like, okay, it's going to be 13 issues. It's going to be an entire year's worth of stuff. And then Archie said, why don't you then call it the Long Halloween, since you guys are like the Halloween guys, and then it can be from one Halloween to the next Halloween. It'll be like you're doing 2 Halloween specials. So that's how this book got made, or like what the idea behind it was. So it really was supposed to be a film noir tale that is the sequel to Batman Year One, which I have not read, but I have watched the animated version of Batman Year One. It's all right.
Fun. Okay.
It's fine. Very Frank Miller-y, so it's the plus and minus of Frank Miller, but at least it was back in the 80s when he hadn't lost his goddamn mind yet.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. So I have, and I own, the trade paperback, as I explained. Rachel, you've read the trade paperback.
I did.
I gave it to you to read.
I did. That's correct.
This was one of those, I think I've explained this on some other podcast episode that we did, where back in the day, before Prime, kids, Amazon, because I think this would have been before I had Prime or access to Prime.
Right.
I don't know if Mom had Prime or not. But back in the day...
Probably before Prime was a thing.
That's what I'm thinking. It might have been before Prime was a thing. I can't remember when I got this. I think I got this sometime in college. So Prime might have been a thing, but who knows. I would go online to buy certain things on Amazon. And because Mom is our mom, she will never let us buy something and pay shipping.
Oh, sure.
Because she's like, why the hell would you pay shipping? You can go to the store and buy it. Why would you pay it?
It's kind of goofy.
So on
Especially
Amazon...
when it's like a really, really expensive shipping.
Right. Yeah, because it's usually like $5-6 or whatever. So on Amazon, this was one of those where like I need to hit $35 to get free shipping. Let me go look see what comics that they have so that I'll add a comic to it and see what's there. And I didn't have in my collection at the time a lot of Batman, except for like stuff from when I was a kid, because I had some of those like early 90s Batman. But I didn't have a lot at the time, and I was like, what's a good Batman story? And when you look up classic Batman stories, I know I keep saying Batman, but is that the way to say it? Batman stories or Batman stories? It's got to be Batman stories.
I think it's just Batman.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an S.
The Batman.
Like a moose.
Classic
I
Batman
don't know, it's
stories.
the only way I can think of it.
No, I think you're right.
Batman.
I think that's correct. This one comes up on the list quite a bit as one of those quintessential Batman stories. I think it's because of the film noir nature of it and everything, and like how it has this very dark and gritty, and there's gangsters, but there's also the rogues gallery and all of this stuff in it. So that's where I ended up having it and owning it. So I do have this on my shelf, but that doesn't mean anything. And I read it when I first got it, and I haven't read it since until now for the show. So when we were putting together the schedule, I was like, oh, Rachel, we need something for the fall for Halloween time. How about the Long Halloween? It's got it right in the name. We'll trick people into listening to it because it's got Halloween in the name.
Did it work? Are you listening?
Yeah, did it? Are you listening? You're listening, aren't you? So, but we also wanted to do a comic book for Volume 5,
yes.
And we were like, we've done a couple of Marvel ones, let's do a DC one, and I was like, perfect, we'll do Long Halloween. It's a classic Batman story, we'll be able to do a Batman,
right?
And it's something that I already know, so we don't have to go like so foreign into it, where I have a bunch of digital comic books from DC now that we'll have to read, Rachel. Like, I bought Final Crisis and all this stuff, or Infinite Crisis and all this junk. This, of course, is my physical copy. I have a couple of physical copies of Batman stuffs. So that is The Batman, The Long Halloween. But it really was just supposed to be this story where they're trying to do a film noir of Batman and at the same time telling this Harvey Dent origin story. Because to me, like when I handed it to you to read, and you were like, what is this one going to be about or whatever, I said it's more of a Harvey Dent story,
right,
than a Batman story.
Yeah.
I stand by that. This is more of a Harvey Dent story. He has the arc.
I think it's Harvey Dent's story from Batman's eyes, or his perspective.
Well, that's an interesting way to put it.
The pause and the drink of water.
If you
that's an interesting way to put it.
Well, I needed a drink. If you watch The Dark Knight, you can tell that The Dark Knight took a lot from this graphic novel. Mm-hmm. Don't you think? Like, especially in the way that Gordon and Dent and Batman interact with each other. It's like a lot of that.
I feel like it did and it didn't, because the one in The Dark Knight, the Harvey Dent in Dark Knight, is way more pristine feeling. This one looks like he
much more righteous.
Yes, that's what righteous. This one sounds from the start a bit more
kind of crazy,
gritty, and like he's willing to do wrong to do right.
Interesting.
I feel like the one in Dark Knight doesn't quite do the I'm willing to do something bad to do the right thing.
That's fair. That's fair. And that might be something that I want to bring up in the verdict, because I think that's a good way to put it. The way that Aaron Eckhart and Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight plays that, not to be doing The Dark Knight, which that was on the list. It's a main event.
You know it's on the list, obviously.
It's a big main event. We don't know when we'll do it, but it's like, yes, it's circled, and it's like, keep this for a rainy day. So we have, but in that, you're right. He is the epitome of the good guy.
Right.
But I think that you have a point, because yes, that's how Batman sees Harvey Dent in the Nolan verse. In this universe, which is not, I think it's non-continuity. I don't think it's the main continuity of DC is that this happened. I don't really know, because I don't really know like the continuity of DC Comics. So folks at home, let me know if this is like in the main universe or if this is like a side pocket universe in an Elseworld. You're right. He seems slightly unhinged, because like, is he the one that okay, we'll get into it in the walkthrough. Because I don't remember if he's the one that's like, we have to do this the right way, or if Gordon is the one that's like, we cannot do this, we have to do this the right way or whatever. And he's willing to say yes, and then Batman's like, yeah, whatever, and like walks away.
Right.
I can't remember I think Gordon.
think it was Gordon who says it, and like, because Harvey keeps making these offhand comments, and we'll get to those too. And Gordon's like, I don't want to hear you say these things. Like, you can't say that. And he goes, well, I mean it. Like, you can. And it's like one of those offhand comments that you would just like think and say, but like at the same time, like actually like seeing him say it in the comic, you're like, okay, something's going on here.
Some of this is because I think they want to. It's a mystery. The story is a mystery.
It's noir. It's
and I think
mystery.
I think that they're trying to make it so that there's red herrings, and Harvey's set up as a potential red herring and all of this stuff. So I think that there is that piece of it too, where they're trying to make it
a little more like, you picked up on something. Oh, you picked up on something over here. Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it over here?
So they're throwing those in there too, which we'll talk about if those are effective or not. Because sometimes I'm like, and it might just be the way that I read it. I could totally be missing it, because sometimes I was like that, like when Harvey suspects, or when Batman suspects Harvey Dent, at some point he starts to think like it could be Harvey doing this. So the basic plot: there's a murder on Halloween. The press starts calling him the holiday killer, because then there's another one on Thanksgiving. Then every holiday there is another murder that's related to the Carmine Falcone crime family. So now there's the holiday killer. And at some point, Batman is like, it could be Harvey. And I was like, why does he think that? Like, I didn't pick up on, like, I was like, what? Why do you think that, Batman? Why do you think that?
Where'd you come up with
And
this?
I don't know if they ever really, like, explain that.
I think... No, I think there are pieces that he picks up on, and he's just denying it, deny until he goes, it could be. I think that's more so what it is.
Yeah. The other piece of this, or the other, like, thing in pop culture that I think also used the dark the dark Halloween, the long Halloween a lot, is the 2022 Batman, the Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman. Because a lot of the Selena Kyle, it starts on Halloween for one, and then a lot of the Selena Kyle Bruce Wayne stuff I felt like was very from this. Like, it had that same tone, and that Carmine Falcone is in that one too, like I felt like both of the Batman adaptations, like from recent memory, have a lot of the long Halloween in it.
Sure.
And the 89 one wasn't gonna, because it was a lot of inspiration. And there's actually 2 sequels to this, Rachel. One called Batman Dark Victory, and one called Catwoman When in Rome. I'm interested in Batman Dark Victory, what that one could be. Because it's also by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale from 1999. The story is a retelling of the origins of Robin and his adoption by Bruce Wayne. Could be interesting. Just to give you an idea of some of the other stuff that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale have done, because I know them from this, and then from Marvel, they did a series where it was a bunch of the superheroes with a color after it, their color series. So it was Spider-Man Blue, Hulk Gray, Captain America White, Daredevil Yellow. They're almost these, like, not remorseful. What am I trying to say? Like very down in the dumps. What's that word that I'm looking for?
Like ennui?
Yes, very ennui.
That is the word for it.
No, it is a word for it.
Melancholy?
I'm gonna, look up synonyms. Melancholy, yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Those stories, so to give you an example, like Spider-Man Blue is about Spider-Man is writing a letter to Gwen Stacy, like on the anniversary of her death.
Okay.
Captain America White is like Captain reminiscing about Bucky. So it's like always about like them reminiscing about like some like dead person that like they
that really
wronged.
Made an impact on them.
Yeah, Daredevil, it's Karen Page. Spoiler alert for those of you that don't know that if that happens in Born Again. That's the premise of all of those stories. So that's where I know him from.
Okay.
And Tim Sale. Like, they did all of those. He also collaborated on the screen play for Teen Wolf.
Oh.
The Michael J. Fox Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's something.
You have a problem with that, Rachel?
No, it sounds odd, but I guess that's fine.
They did stuff with, he became the head of television, Jeff Loeb did, for Marvel.
Okay.
And it's hit or miss, because he did Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Inhumans, and then did the Netflix series. So he did Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Punisher, Luke Cage, which I like most of those.
Okay, wow, all right, yeah.
Yeah, and Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, which I never watched either of those, MODOK, The Gifted, Legion, Hellstrom. And then
he does a ton.
Mm-hmm. Loeb left the company when Kevin Feige became in charge of, like, everything.
Sure.
But that's what he was doing before that, because he was in charge of the television stuff and Feige was in charge of the movies, and then they made him in charge of everything. So he has a love-hate relationship with a lot of these like super comic people, because I think he's hit or miss on some stuff. I thought that he did stuff with the cartoons at some point too, but I could be totally thinking of a different person that has a similar name as him. But that's what his bio says that I can find, is that he was all of the Marvel television stuff.
Okay.
Rachel, do you have anything else that you'd like to discuss before we get into the walkthrough for the book?
No, I think I'm ready to go through the pages.
Folks at home, get your books out. Or if you don't have a book, pull up a chair, start a fire. Maybe start carving a pumpkin.
Drink,
Yeah. Yeah, get a hot cocoa or a coffee.
Or a apple cider.
Yeah, turn the lights down a bit as we give you the film noir stylings of The Long Halloween. After the break.
Put on some jazz or big band music.
Yeah, put on a little jazz.
You know?
Well, you can't put it on and listen to us, though.
Why not?
That's the problem.
Just have it really quiet in the background and then have us over it. You know, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's our tone. Is that the tone that we're going for in this episode?
That's the tone. It's a noir.
Like jazzmen.
I love noirs. I love Spider-Man noir.
On the list. So when we return, after word from our fake sponsor, we will get into The Long Halloween.
Are you looking for a touch of Gotham City elegance in your home? Discover the secrets of Gotham City at Falcone Imports. Our exclusive collection features the finest treasures, hand-selected by those who know the city best, curated by our legitimate businessmen. Falcone Imports offers a curated selection of the finest goods the city has to offer. From exquisite antiques to rare collectibles. We don't even know where half this shit came from, we swear. Handcrafted furniture, vintage collectibles, rare and unique items from Gotham's storied past, and luxury home decor. We have discreet delivery. Your purchases will arrive in the utmost secrecy. You may not even be home and you'll have shit all over your house when you come back. Limited availability. Some of these items are simply too rare to be found elsewhere. They might be one of a kind. We don't even know where the fuck we found them. Falcone Imports, Gotham's hidden gems.
So I was watching a bunch of these things on the internet to try to get like some more idea of the show or like of the book, like the background and stuff. And one person was pointing out, I don't know if this is intentional or not, that Tolkien had coined the phrase I don't know if he coined it, but like he described humanity is in the midst of a long defeat, where he thinks that you can keep trying to be good and you can keep trying to like save the world or whatever, but eventually we're going to end up destroying ourselves. We're just in a long defeat. It's just a drawn out
like
long process.
It's very pessimistic.
Which is weird. It's pessimistic, but like the Lord of the Rings is pretty optimistic. Like the ending is optimistic. The good guys win.
Oh, sure. But
so
like, the whole idea is that everything's corruptible still.
And that's the point of the story. So that's where that's where it comes back, right? So that's where I was like, okay, like I get it. And I wish I could remember what YouTube video I was watching, but like shout out to that guy. That was the point of like tying it back in, where it's like, is that intentional? Is it given the name The Long Halloween because it is Batman's long defeat?
That's
where
interesting.
It's showing everything is corruptible because Harvey becomes corrupted. Spoiler alert. And the story changes
Dang it, Kevin, we've only been hinting at it this entire time.
Well, and then Gotham changes from being owned by the mob to being owned by these freaks that Batman brought about.
Sure.
Or that people
or
say
that they're blaming
it's Batman's fault.
Batman showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Batman's long defeat, or his realization that he cannot win, but he's gonna keep trying,
keep fighting anyways.
And I like that. I like that the title can have two meanings then, because it's The Long Halloween, because the Carmine says like his people feel like it's been Halloween for a year because all the scary stuff is happening and they feel like they're getting spooked at every corner. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a double entendre for being the long defeat of Gotham. Like no matter what Batman does, he's in a never-ending battle.
Yeah.
To save it. I like that.
I like it. All right, we can just end here. That was good.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. Yeah, we don't have to do anything. I'm not even going to do We're Back. I'm not going to do it. Hell with it. I've been Kevin. She's Rachel. We're done.
Goodbye.
Da-dun, da-da-da-dun, dun, da.
I like how it's the sped up version. Da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
All right, I guess we should walk through That Is What the People Expect from Shelf Life.
Obviously.
And we're back with Batman. Oh,
Batman's
Bruce,
going
here.
to join us this entire time. He's going to narrate the entire book for us.
I'm going to start reading you the Batman The Long Halloween.
That was a little Cartman, but whatever, it's fine.
It still sounded
I
deeper than
Gotham
Cartman.
City.
It wasn't the coon, so I think you're fine.
I only came here tonight out of respect for my parents.
We are back. Bruce, thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
So let's get right into it.
I like it.
Rachel Chapter 1, you like to do the covers. Please
Yes.
to let us know, what is Chapter 1 entitled Crime?
Correct.
What is the cover of Chapter 1?
The cover is a jack-o'-lantern with a black cat and its tail like around it, and it has red eyes. It's very noirish. I kind of like it. It feels kind of old school and sketchy, and it's very dark. I like very dark lines that are bleeding. And when I mean bleeding, not like blood, but like bleeding as in like the ink.
They're moving, yeah. Do you want to explain the art style that Tim Sale uses throughout the book?
There's words for it, and I don't know if I'm not gonna get the right like art words for it, but it's so dark and in the shadows, right?
Huge ass shadow lines.
Definitely huge asses.
Big ass black line.
But like very thick lines. Very, very thick black lines, very dark shadows, very deep shadows. A lot of like the lighting is going to be
interesting coloring,
yellow. Like the color grading, yeah, exactly.
Blue color grading on a lot of stuff, So it's film noir-y.
Absolutely, it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic, very in the shadows, silhouettes everywhere. I like it.
It's an interesting style. I definitely think that it fits the tone of the story pretty well, which a lot of it also from The Godfather. Like Carmine
absolutely.
Feels like a Don Corleone style
the day
character.
Of my daughter's wedding. Like I could see him say that.
I mean, it starts at a wedding, so let's. Chapter 1 begins.
It's his nephew's wedding.
The day of my nephew's wedding. Yeah. So the first line is actually, I think, from The Godfather. But, I mean, it's with Gotham City in it, but it's Bruce standing in this very, very dark shadowed room saying, I believe in Gotham City. Yes. And it turns out that he's talking to Carmine Falcone, who is the crime lord of Gotham. We hear from Bruce, who says that he only came to this wedding because, out of respect for his parents, because they knew they knew Falcone's family. And Carmine says, your father was more than just a friend to my father, Bruce. Bruce is like, yeah, well, that was a long time ago. And he looks out at the wedding, and it's the wedding for, as you said, Rachel, Johnny Vitti, who is Carmine's nephew. They say that Johnny was going to tell everything he knew about the Roman, which is Carmine's nickname, to the grand jury. That was going to happen, but then Johnny never testified, and he's getting married, and the Roman's paying for everything. So, like, everything's been forgiven, I guess. So at some point, Johnny Vitti must have just said, like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sell Uncle Carmine up the river or whatever. So now it's just water under the bridge, right? So now it's all good. Bruce recognizes that Richard Daniel is out there, who must be one of the executives on the bank, Gotham City Bank. We find out that Carmine is trying to get it so that Falcone Imports is able to do business with the bank. So they're trying to expand their legitimate side of the business so that they can do like money laundering and all that kind of stuff at the bank, I think is the objective. And he's trying to get Bruce on board. He's trying to, because Bruce is a member of the board, because of course he is. And he's trying to get Bruce on board with it. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to give you that. Like, I don't care. I won't vote or influence the board on your behalf, no matter what, you've gotten Richard to be able to do. And Carmine's upset about this. And he says, like, enjoy the party, Bruce. Try the cannoli. I had it flown in from Italy. Fresh. Carmine, Rachel.
Yes.
I think that you would probably describe him as stereotypical Italian mobster-looking man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
With one distinguishing characteristic.
The 3 scratches on a face?
That's correct. Which I have a pretty good idea of how he got those.
Me too.
Do you want to know how I got this scar?
His father was a badger? Is that what it is?
That's a deep cut, Rachel. There's like 3 people that are going to know what the hell you meant by that line.
We're not explaining it. If you know, you know.
All right.
All right? Tweet me. If you know it.
Shelf Life Podcast. I don't remember what our
threads me.
Threads us because we're not on that fucking website. Yeah. We only support semi-evil, amoral billionaires on this podcast. God damn it. Rachel, I wouldn't support any of them if I could.
Right.
I have to live in a society. We live in a society. We're doing all the Joker shit tonight.
Apparently.
Rachel, why do you think where do you think he got that scar?
My assumption was Catwoman.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's got to be Catwoman.
It's got to be Catwoman.
Because Catwoman is just
she's scratching people
stalking,
everywhere. Yeah, she is always there.
She's stalking Carmine
100%.
throughout this entire book.
Mm-hmm.
And you never find out why.
She never explains it here, but I assume it has something to do with, like, her family or something.
Me too. Now, the 2022 movie, The Batman, does something similar with Catwoman and Falcone, I thought.
Yeah.
Right? Because that... Spoiler alert for the Batman. But in that movie, they have it so that Selina is his daughter?
I believe so.
I was always kind of like wishy-washy about that. But like, I think that there's groundwork laid in this comic book for that she wants to get revenge on the Falcone family for some reason.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Killed a lover,
one is to be a red
friend,
herring.
Killed a family member. It's something.
Yeah, and I do like the idea that she's trying to get revenge on the Falcones, and we don't know why. We never find out why, because she's the femme fatale. She's fucking Catwoman. You're never gonna know.
Yeah.
But I like that. Yeah. So clearly, he has a Catwoman scar on his face. At least I think it's pretty clear.
I think it is. It's gotta be.
So Bruce leaves, and some Milos, one of Carmine's thugs, comes up and says, "Perhaps I could encourage Wayne like the others." And Carmine says, "I don't think that'll be necessary, Milos. Richard assures me we have enough votes. Bruce Wayne certainly would have clinched it for us." And Bruce is outside the door listening in, because he's doing his detective work, as you do. But approaching him is Alberto Falcone. And Bruce says that he was just looking for the bathroom, but he got turned around.
Right.
Alberto Falcone, we find out, is a Rhodes Scholar from Harvard. He's considered the good son. He's the one that, if you do the Godfather analogy, he's the Al Pacino, because he's the one that Carmine doesn't want to have anything to do with the business, because he's like, no, you can go legitimate. You don't have to be a part of this.
You don't need to do this, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a good kid, and I want you to be that kid.
Mm-hmm. I like the little bit of artwork that they do where Bruce walks away, and then there's just a not a cell. What's it called? A panel. There's just a panel of, like, Alberto's glasses, and he's like smoking a cigarette.
Nose. It's very
like, yeah,
and
it's
then
very
you
like
see the smoke of the cigarette.
Yeah. Like, just very like kind of like, here we go, like, you know, it's we're getting artsy here, folks.
Well, you know, he's eyeing up Wayne.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what that translates to, is he's going It's that
He's trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Right.
Bruce is walking through the wedding, and he stumbles into Selina Kyle, who, for the uninitiated, is Catwoman.
That's right.
This book, Batman and company are all, like, pretty well-known, established people, right? Like,
I assume.
We say Catwoman, like, that reaches far and wide. She's getting a seat at the table. Probably not, because she's going to steal your china, but...
It's true. She would steal from you.
Rachel, you might be able to... Now, unfortunately, we did a heist this year for our fantasy draft. Catwoman would have been fucking first-round pick,
100%.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe if we spin it again next year. Selina Kyle, Rachel, anything about her? Big black hair.
Big, poofy, like,
big
80s
Elaine
black
Bennis hair.
Yes,
like
Elaine Bennis. She looks like Elaine Bennis.
She kind of does.
She's very muscular. She's wearing that, like, right now she's wearing, like, that black dress and all this jewelry, and her nails are sharp, and she just has that, like, ooh, come hither look, you know, because it's Wayne.
Right, because they got their thing going on. So she asked Bruce if he wants to dance.
Do they know who each other is in this, or no?
No, I don't know. I do not believe so. I think that's part of the charm.
At one point I thought, oh, do they? And then at one point I was like, maybe not. So
no, I think that's part of the charm, is that they're clearly, like, kind of into each other here. Like, they're not dating,
absolutely.
But they're, like, you know, they fool around or whatever. They have fun.
Oh, yeah.
And Catwoman and Batman are almost the same way, where it's like they, like, partner up and fool around and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's part of the charm of it. So they're dancing, and Johnny's mom, who is Carmine's sister, calls over Johnny and says, like, tell your mom about that big fella, the handsome one dancing with that woman. I don't know if that's how I would do her voice. Oh, if she's got a cigarette voice.
That's
but
Bruce
like,
Wayne, mama. Like, that's how I assume he sounds.
That's definitely how Johnny
he looks
talks.
like Mo, but like a curly Mo. So like he doesn't have the high pitched voice.
He's got a big head. Yeah, but a Mo haircut. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's Bruce Wayne, mama. His old man.
But that is exactly how I thought she would have talked, but
pals.
unless you like want to give her like the smoker voice, and then she's just
No,
like,
I do think it's
who's
more
the
like a
handsome one,
whiny.
the dancing with that woman? Like, is it
Yeah.
that? Or is
I think
it
it's whiny.
I kind of
think
like
it's a
the whiny voice.
voice.
I
Yeah.
like the whiny voice.
They just
We have to
point
do
out that there's
voices for
Bruce
this.
Wayne.
My voice is just going to be gone by the end of the night, by the way.
That's fine. That's fine. Why not? Bruce is talking about how now that Selena Kyle is there, like him doing work has lost some urgency, so he's good with it. And we go back to Falcone's office, and he's talking with Alberto now. Carmine's talking about how he doesn't really trust his sister, Aunt Carla, in Chicago. He thinks that if anything ever happens to him, it was probably your Aunt Carla. And Alberto's like, well, if anything happens to you, and he's like, by the way, Bruce Wayne was snooping around, and he's like, Alberto, good-looking boy like yourself should be chasing after some nice, pretty girl.
Yeah, he does
Not
that
worrying
thing
about
with the
things that don't
cheeks. He's
concern
like
you.
slapping
Yeah,
his
he does the
cheek.
little like, hey, Alberto. Alberto wants to help in the family.
Yes.
And Carmine's like, I don't want you to have anything to do with it. So there's two ways that this could go. I think it's Carmine's like, you're too smart. You can go legit. You don't have to be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to be a part of this because of that.
Right.
But I think the way that Alberto interprets it is,
You're
I'm
not good enough for this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like that dynamic.
It's a good dynamic, but it's just like, no, he's just doesn't want you to know anything or think that way because he's like, but because if the cops come talking, you can't get, taken then. You're not involved.
Right.
Keep me out of it.
Yeah. Keep me out of it. They point out that Harvey Dent is in the basement or like in one of the parking garage levels or whatever. And he's just writing down license plates of people that were there.
Yes.
Like, come on, Harvey. You're not even doing anything at this point.
It's so dumb.
It's also established that this is June because Selena says it's hot. It's even too hot for June. Harvey's in the parking lot and he gets hit over the head and then they like kind of beat him up and they're like, stupid Harvey, what are you doing here, Mr. Dent, or whatever. And they start beating the shit out of him. But Selena and Wayne come in and they like see that like something happened to him. And Harvey's like, don't worry about me, I'm fine. Harvey's like, you society types, go ahead and do whatever it is you do when you're doing it. The rest of us will take care of what needs to be done. And Bruce goes, and what needs to be done? And Harvey goes, you wouldn't understand, Wayne. Good night, Miss Kyle.
Yeah, there's a lot of these like shifty eye looks towards each other.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
All these brooding men.
Selena asks Bruce if it's a friend of his, and Bruce goes, I've contributed to his campaign for district attorney. I believe in Harvey Dent. That is taken straight from The Dark. The Dark Knight takes that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
because that's...
Does he ever say I believe in Gotham City, too? Because, like, I feel
the
like...
first line of the book is I believe in Gotham
not
City.
in the movie, because...
I don't recall.
Because for some reason that felt like it, too.
Yeah, that could be it, too.
Or it
but
could
I
be, like,
believe
in
in
the
Harvey
first
Dent was...
one or something.
I believe in Harvey Dent was all
100%.
over The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all over this. It's all over that.
So Selena asks if Bruce has any plans for the rest of the evening. She wants to take him back to the cat house or whatever and have a good time.
Scratching post. What would it be called? Like,
I don't know.
What are their little house tree things called? The tree that.
Folks at home, let us know.
Tree.
Neither of us have a cat. Cat house is a prostitution junket. I don't remember what that is called. Rachel's looking it up
it's just
right
a
now.
cat tree. Cat condo. Kitty condo.
Oh, cat condo. Kitty condo. Oh, yeah. You can come back to the kitty condo with me, Bruce. Not your mansion. We don't want to wake up. We don't want to wake up Alfred. Yeah, and Bruce is like, "Oh, it's pretty late even for me." I picture it being like 10:30, and Bruce is like,
Right.
"It's pretty late."
And she's probably just like, yeah, that's fine, because I had some other stuff I wanted
I'm gonna
to
go be
do.
Catwoman. So
Yeah.
we go to Gordon's office. So Commissioner Gordon comes in, looking like Commissioner Gordon. I like the way Commissioner Gordon is designed. This is how Commissioner Gordon always looks. You got to have a mustache. You think that is there ever, in the 80-plus years of Batman media, been a Commissioner Gordon without a mustache?
There better not be. Because this man, like...
If they ever...
The mustache is the man. That man could look like anything, but as long as he has a mustache...
Better have a fucking mustache.
That's right.
I mean, you can have a beard if you want him to have a beard,
yeah,
but
maybe
he better
some
have
scruff,
a mustache.
You know, but that mustache better be, like, outdoing the beard, too.
Even if they, like, do a Jimmy Gordon, and it's, like, a woman play... They would just have Barbara play... Like, it would just be Barbara instead of Jim Gordon. But, like, even if they do a woman in the role, she better have a fucking mustache. I don't care.
Or Jane Gordon.
Yeah, a Jane Gordon.
She better have one. Yeah.
She better have a mustache.
She better have a mustache.
But Jim Gordon, of course, the classic... He's not a commissioner at this point. He's Captain Gordon at the start of this book. And he is the upstanding, the legitimate cop on the force of Gotham City. He truly wants to do good.
Yes.
So the rest of the Gotham... Not the entire thing, but most of the Gotham City police force is corrupt or greedy or selfish. They do not care about stopping any of this crime. Jim Gordon is the only one that believes that
he's incorruptible.
You should be doing the right thing. He is incorruptible, and that's why Batman trusts him, and that's why he trusts Batman. And
also,
Harvey,
I like the colors in these panels, by the way. Very, like, it's just blues and yellows.
And the yellow is the lamp of his office
it's
desk.
The lighting coming up, right? Because there's like no other lighting. It's dark out.
Right. He's on the phone with his wife, telling him that he knows it's late and he's about to leave, and Harvey comes in, and this is where like Harvey's the legitimate. He's the one that legitimizes Captain Gordon and Batman, right? Because like he is the district attorney. He's the one that can help them actually accomplish something. So he walks in, asks Gordon if he has anything to drink. And he's like, "What happened to you? You look like you've been hit by a truck." And he's like, "Well, I went over to the Falcone wedding." And Gordon's like an idiot,
and was just writing down license plate.
It's like, you probably could have gotten a guest list some other way. You didn't have to be writing down license plates.
So
like, what are you going to write? Like, you know that he invited... Yeah, he invited high society. Like, Selena and Bruce Wayne are there. Like, what are you going to do with them?
Anyways.
But Gordon is like, you're not supposed to take these chances. Like, you're supposed to be smart about this. So, to your point, Rachel, Harvey is immediately reckless.
Yes. Exactly.
And he says that...
I mean, he's reckless in the movie, but this guy is reckless in a dirty way.
Yeah. And Harvey says, Falcone has us outmanned, outgunned, outclassed. How are we ever going to bring him down? And Gordon says, I have a friend who wants to help.
Yes.
We cut back to the Falcone wedding. Bruce is telling us some stuff in his head. Earlier in the evening, I saw a safe in Falcone's study. And while it would be improper for Bruce Wayne to examine its contents, there is an alternative. And he flies in, and Carmine thinks that he saw a shadow or something, I think, flying in.
Now, I don't know if he saw Bruce's shadow or Batman's shadow. I'm wondering if he saw the other.
He touches
I'm only
the scar.
saying that because he touches his scar.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Batman gave him that scar.
No. And Bruce goes in the room, but before he can do anything about the safe, Catwoman's already there.
That's right.
And so then Batman and Catwoman start fighting each other. Batman's cape is outrageous in some of these.
Oh, it is massive.
Pages. Yeah, it's like
You'd
Spawn-esque.
be tripping over this thing. Yes.
Probably because of Spawn, but it is this big, massive cape.
Oh yeah.
So.
And Catwoman wears red, a deep.
I thought it was a purple,
red.
A really dark, a purple.
Okay, well, in my opinion, that is a burgundy red with purpley colored accessories.
Folks at home, let us know what you think that she's wearing in this. She has on the full cowl as well in this, so it's it is that color cowl with the Catwoman ears even on it.
Yes, and a tail,
and the claws, and the tail. It's kind of weird that she put a tail on her costume.
But she's a cat.
Thank you.
Well, if she doesn't have the tail, what is it, a little stub tail? She can put a little stub tail on her butt? I
don't want her to have a tail at all. Why does she need a tail?
Because she's a cat. Why does she need ears? Why does she need any of it? Why does Batman need to look like a bat?
To intimidate my enemies. I scare them.
'cause I'm a bear. Thank you, Bruce. So he says to her that my business does not involve you, and Catwoman's like, I don't believe you. But because they knew that this was happening outside, like the mob guys like bust in the door and they start shooting at them.
Yes.
And Batman throws a smoke bomb at them to start, he's got to do his ninja thing.
Yes.
Beats the shit out of those guys, and then Carmine walks in and is like, in my own home, where my children sleep. And he's all pissed off about the fact that they were able to get in.
On my nephew's wedding.
On this. He does say that. On my nephew's wedding day.
Yeah, it's a little on the nose.
So he tells Carmine that it was the Catwoman and Batman. Maroni, Salvatore the Boss Maroni, who is also in The Dark Knight. It's the one played by Tim Robbins. Are you sure it's not one of Maroni's people? Because Carmine's in Batman Begins. And
yeah.
Maroni's in The Dark Knight.
Right.
So Maroni was laughing about the fact that they got the drop on him at the wedding, and Maroni's like, you getting too old here, Carmine? Falcone's like, you know what? Why don't you go get a drink? And he says, the rest of you spread the word. He's putting a bounty, $1 million for either of them, the bat or the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Catwoman and Batman are just flying through Gotham City now. They're just going from like rooftop to rooftop, which feels like a thing that you would do in the Arkham games.
Yes, where you have to chase her.
Just go to rooftop chasing down Catwoman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Objective, catch Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time you get close enough, she talks to you for a second and then bounds off again.
That's
and then
right.
You have to go follow her again.
A big 2-page spread of them flying through the city. It's got a very like noirish, like to the point of the center of the frame. The point of it is like off kilter, and it's like they're
the
like just flying upside down. Yeah. And she says that, for a man who says that he doesn't want to have, or he has no business with me, you're following me quite a bit. So she's giving him like the, hey, stop it. And there was even like a little pose of like the Dark Knight Rises pose on the next page where he's like got the arm straight out in front, like he's going to shoot the grappling hook.
Yes.
And they're in the shadows. They're all in black. She won't tell him why she was at Falcone's. She eventually gets away. And he's not able to stop her, which is typical. I think she always gets away.
She's sneaky.
And Batman says, I wonder if it's true what they say about having 9 lives. After tonight, she's going to need all of them. But they turned the bat signal on. So the bat signal is behind them. He's like, man, I wanted to keep chasing down my girlfriend.
Tail.
Yes, I was chasing some tail.
Literally.
So
that's why she has the tail.
Yes, that's right. So Dent and Gordon are on the rooftop, and Dent's like, how much longer? And Gordon's like, I don't know, as long as it takes. And Dent's like,
how long do you hang out up here until you see
it? And you just told your wife, too, that you were packing up. Like, this, like, he's so mean to Barbara.
He's a bit blasé, yeah. But I think she's understanding. If he goes, I had to meet Batman, she'd be like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. Like, he's like, she understands.
Yeah.
And he says, like, why are you and Gilda having problems? So this establishes that Dent is married to Gilda Dent.
Yes.
I don't know if that's canon. I think that they did that for this book. Like, I think this is the introduction of Gilda Dent. I could be wrong about that. I've never heard of that outside of this continuity.
I don't. The name was not recognizable for me.
I like it. It gives Harvey more drive, purpose, and some backstory, of course, into his like corrupted arc too.
Right.
Which they also do on the animated series. We're gonna have to figure out how the arc goes on the animated series as well compared to this arc.
All right.
We'll do that on a Saturday morning Shelf Life coming to you at some point, I'm sure. So eventually, Batman shows up. Gentlemen. Gordon goes to introduce them and goes, District Attorney Harvey Dent, this is, and Dent goes, bats, and Batman goes, Dent. He's like, all right, well, I guess you two know each other already.
Right.
So, and in Batman Year One, Batman does, like, drop into Dent's office a time or two. So, yeah, Dent's like, I appreciate this guy.
Right.
This scene feels like the Dark Knight lifted it right out of this.
It does.
Even the framing.
Right.
Because remember there's the scene in The Dark Knight where they, like, do, like, the 360 spin around Batman with, like, all 3 of them talking?
Right, on
that
the rooftop.
Same frame is almost in this on the one page where, like, it's the three of them agreeing to trying to take down Carmine, but they have to do it the right way. Dent says that he appreciates Batman because he crosses a line that they can't. And Gordon says it's still a line. They kind of argue for a second, and he says, like, you know, you've both been working on the Roman case here. Dent's like, don't call him the Roman, call him Carmine Falcone. He's just a man, like any other, except he puts himself above the law. Dent's like, why don't you go arrest him if you're, like, so confident that doesn't, you know, he's not above the law then, Jim. But Dent's like, he's got everybody in his pocket, and we can't really stop him. And in that framing,
yes,
there's a shadow.
Yes.
On half of Harvey's face.
Yep.
To do some foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Plus,
Batman
like, what he's saying, like, he's going, I like that he gets to go across the line. I don't get to cross the line. I want to cross that line.
Right. Yeah, we need to cross the line. Yeah. Batman says we know what needs to be done, and Gordon says, I want to be clear on this. In our zeal to bring Falcone to justice, I'll let you bend the rules, but we cannot break them. Otherwise, how are we different from him? And Dent says, of course. And Batman's just
silent for a minute. Because he's like, well...
Yeah, and so they're like,
I
Batman,
love the next one where they both, like, look at him. Like, all I can imagine, it's, like, a silence for a second, because he's thinking all of that in his head, like, in time. And they all, like, turn, and they're like...
It's perfect silence, and Batman's just thinking, I made a promise to my parents. I would not rest until Gotham was washed clean of evil.
Batman?
Batman? So Gordon says, Batman, I need your word on this. Batman? Agree. So Batman agrees to
there is still, like, another pause, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even say, like, Batman, are you okay? Like, did you have a stroke? What's going on?
And then Batman vanishes, and then we get the joke that's, I think, in every Batman movie with a Commissioner Gordon.
It's in every Batman thing, period.
Yeah. He's like, he's gone. And Gordon goes, he does that. Annoying, isn't it?
I love that line, though. There's something about him just going, yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? Just so used to it now.
Gordon says that there was a time when I suspected that you were the Batman. Like, he's saying that he thought Harvey might have been the Batman. And Dent says, sorry, I'm quite happy with who I am. And it turns out that Batman left a ledger with dates and dollar amounts that he must have taken from the Falcone office.
Yep.
Yeah. And it actually ends that section by saying, I believe in Jim Gordon. In, like, Bruce's head saying, I believe in Jim Gordon. Which is nice.
But it's true.
Because you get that, yeah.
It's true, he does.
Well, I just feel like they don't always... They don't
give him enough credit. The man doesn't...
Yeah... Like, it's always implied, it's always known that Batman respects Jim Gordon, but you don't always get that idea that, like, you know, he is the only confidant that Batman can trust, you know?
Right, yes.
We then go to July, and it is the monthly board meeting of the Gotham City Bank, and Bruce is telling everyone, Yeah, he's angry. He's like, everyone in this room knows where the Falcone family comes from. For us to even consider doing business with them. And the guy that's like the CEO or whatever is like, Bruce, you're making some pretty wild accusations about Carmine Falcone. They're like, you know, we've agreed to this, Bruce. Business is business, and this bank could use the millions that's going to be imported in here. And Bruce says it's dirty money. He wants to launder here. And he says, I cannot allow this to happen. And walks out. Meanwhile, we then go to that Richard Daniel. Meanwhile, across town. Thank you. I appreciate that. Should we tell that story while we're here about my history with Batman?
Oh, sure. We could do that.
I don't know when we can do that with a Batman. I mean, we can do that with the Tim Burton Batman for sure.
Sure.
Because that, I think, is part of it. Because we didn't really say it beforehand in, like, the backstory piece. Rachel, like, what's your history with Batman?
I grew up with Batman. I couldn't tell you. You were already reading me Batman comics and probably all the comic books you owned when I was a baby, so...
Well, the picture that we have that I showed everyone at the wedding, like I blew up at the wedding, is me reading you a Spider-Man comic book, I think. But I'm sure I read you Batman comics as well.
It's his fault I'm a nerd.
Yes. I apologize.
No, don't you dare.
For me, Dad and I would watch shit on Saturday mornings. We would always watch cartoons or whatever was on Saturday mornings, and they would show when I was like 2 or what, probably even younger.
Mm-hmm.
They would show reruns of Batman 1966. So like the Adam West Batman.
Okay.
So that's where that was my first exposure to superheroes, I'm pretty sure. So naturally I became like obsessed with Batman. So that was how I became a fan of Batman.
Yes.
So now, and Mom I think still has the picture of me with the Batman mask. I would walk around the house with a Batman mask on.
Yes.
One of my birthdays was like a Batman themed thing, and she like put the thing in the paper, like, you know, from the Joker and Batman and everyone. It's like me with the Batman mask on and all that shit. So yes, I'm a lifetime Batman fan. We talked about it beforehand. I have in front of me my Batarang.
That's right.
Here. My very authentic Batarang.
It's actually like sharp and metal.
I think it could do some damage.
Very cool.
If I knew how to throw it, yeah. And my Batman shelf, which I have all of my Batman accessories on my Batman shelf. So yeah, big fan of Batman.
Big fan.
This guy. Big fan. I'm not a big DC guy, but I'm a gigantic Batman guy.
Right.
The thing about it is I like Batman in most medium. It's unlike every superhero that's in my like top 5 where it's like, no, I have a very favorite Spider-Man. I have a very favorite Captain America. Batman, it's like there's a lot of good Batmans.
There's a lot of good Batmans. It's interesting how there's so many different versions of like Batman and how each one is like it works. Unique. And it's interesting and it's fun.
Yeah. It's a very versatile hero. It doesn't always have to be like the dark and gritty Batman, but it usually is, and there's usually a way to have that pay off.
Or that lighthearted Batman.
Or
Adam West.
Adam West. Yeah, so meanwhile, across town in the penthouse of Richard Daniel.
Sorry.
Richard Daniel is there, and he's like getting a drink. He hears Richard Daniel and drops the glass, and he goes, "The Falcone money. Keep it out of the bank." And that's all he needs to do.
That's all he needs to do. But why doesn't the CEO go, "Did Bruce send you?"
I thought that too.
Like, why did you all of a sudden come here and say this to me? It's
I guess,
random.
You know, maybe Batman puts 2 and 2 together, and like
he's got some
he knows
stock
that
in
Batman
the business.
is.
Like,
I own a lot of money in the Gotham Bank. No, I think he could put 2 and 2 together and be like, well,
yeah, it's a bad
Batman
guy.
fights crime, and we know what the Falcone family does.
Sure.
So, you know. Meanwhile, in August, Falcone is pissed off because they decided, or Richard Daniel resigns as head of the bank, and Bruce Wayne becomes head of the board. So, of course, now they're going to say no. Falcone is like, I want this little bank rat dead. And Maroni says, like, I warned you, Falcone, ever since Richard Daniel resigned, no bank in Gotham will touch us. So now they have a problem because now they have a bunch of money that they can't launder. So they can't do anything with it.
Right.
I've never understood laundering money. I always feel like the Office Space.
It
scene where
seems
they're
so
like
confusing.
looking it up in a dictionary and trying to figure out how to launder money.
Right.
Like, it does seem confusing. I think you have to like, you know, push it through an intermediary so that it comes out the other side clean.
Right. I don't get it. Because it's like what they're printing it too, right? So you print money and then you put it like the fake money through real businesses so you get real money?
No, it's more like you get money from like racketeering and drugs and stuff.
Oh.
But to make it legitimate so that you can use the money, then you have to like push it through a different source and then it comes back.
Okay.
So folks at home, please let me know. I
watched Ozarks.
It always seems
there was some of that. It's all about laundering money.
Seasons of Ozarks. Maroni is lamenting the fact that the families are all kind of questioning Carmine's stature as the head of the Roman here. He's like, New York, Metropolis, and Chicago. And Alberto says, I think there might be a way to. And Carmine cuts him off and goes, Alberto, please, we're talking business. So he wants to know where Johnny is because he says there's been 2 months of that kid on an Italian honeymoon, and he wants Johnny back here now.
Right.
So now it's September. You can tell it's colder out because everyone's wearing big trench coats like it's the 1930s, which is just, I feel like a staple of Gotham City. Like it's always
I love those
the 1930s.
trench coats. I want one that makes me like flows around me. And
Yeah,
just, like...
I could use a big trench coat. I think I would look pretty baller in a nice trench coat,
See,
like a slim fit trench coat.
Oh sure, but you'd have to wear like a suit under it, and then I'd have to be like all dolled up with like a dress, and then like high heels, and then like walk, and it's like flowing.
I guess that is the problem. So Richard Daniel is with his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and they're coming out of a movie. They went to see How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, or a play. I can't tell which. Richard says, "What do you say, darling? Why don't you get out of Gotham City for a while? Take a little place in Paris." So they want to leave town. And I think he's saying he wants to leave town because he knows something's going to happen to him. He's trying to make it so that his wife doesn't know that that's the case.
Right.
But before anything can happen, he hears, Richard Daniel. And he goes, "Yes, who?" And I think it's Johnny Beatty. It's pretty clear in the car. Takes out a gun and shoots him and kills Richard Daniel on the street.
Right. Yeah, it's that mohair.
Yeah, it's mohair. Whenever we see the holiday killer, or what ends up being the holiday killer, the panels become very 2x2, 3x3 kind of style. And it's all in black and white. And we see gloved hands working on a gun, shaving off a serial number.
Right.
And putting a silencer on it with a baby nipple.
Yep.
That's like what you see in those panels.
Right.
All in black and white. And that cuts to another baby nipple.
Another nipple.
Yeah.
Another a bottle nipple.
A bottle nipple. Not like a nipple.
What if it was just a nipple?
It's just somebody's nipple. Great transition.
From one nipple to another.
It's Jim Gordon. He's doing the dishes.
Yep.
They've got the baby at home. Little, is it? I think Jimmy.
I think
is
it's
born
Jimmy
first. Yeah, it's
think
not Barbara.
Is. No.
Yeah.
It's a boy.
Okay. Barbara also Jim's wife, so they name Barbara after the wife.
I like that. I think people should do that more, where you name the next.
You get
kid.
a junior.
You get a junior on the woman's side as well, but instead of just the man's. I want a Rachel Jr.
Yeah, there you go. You can call her Rayju.
God.
Do you want to be called Homer Jr.? The kids can all call you Hoju.
Get back to you on that.
Jim is saying, okay, well, now that the summer's over, maybe there'll be a drop in crime rate, which is true. When it's hot out, crime goes up. There's I guess the correlation there is that, the people are outside more, so that, there's more crime because they're, shooting each other or something. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. The phone is ringing, and Barbara is like, it's for you. Nobody ever calls here for me. And Jim's like, "Oh, Barbara, come on." So then it does turn out to be, he's getting the call that Richard Daniel's been shot.
Right.
So then he calls Harvey. And what do we see Harvey doing, Rachel?
Well, Harvey is downstairs in the basement in his workshop. There you can see a workbench, and he's shirtless. That's what he's doing. And
the lighting on him is similar to the lighting on the holiday killer. Interestingly,
well, that's true,
enough.
But there's a yellow tone. There's a yellow.
It's a more yellow tone. Yeah.
Right. It's that awful
Gilda
lighting.
says, yeah. So Gilda said Gilda took the call from Jim and says that Jim says that Richard Daniel has been murdered, and she says she's scared that one day that phone's gonna ring and it's gonna be Harvey's been murdered.
Right.
And then we get a 2-page spread of the next scene. Of the first murder, it's really the second murder of the book, but it's the first one that we're officially told is the holiday murder.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And it is of Johnny Beatty. He's turning on the tub, giving himself a nice bath. A hand opens the door, shoots him with the silencer, and leaves a little jack-o'-lantern and the gun at the scene of the crime. I like the idea of this big,
So it leaves the gun, though, too. I just find it odd that he leaves the gun.
Yeah, he always leaves the gun, too.
Right.
Well, because it's it's that serial killer, calling card, testing kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of this big hitman guy. Like, I need to go home and get in the tub, ma. I've had a really stressful day. Come on.
I murdered a man today. I gotta take a bath.
So Johnny Vitti is dead in the tub. Oh, crap. I died in the tub already.
Honestly, it's a great panel, too, it's a weird thing to say, but I just love that they have, like, that deep red of the blood in the tub.
Yeah.
And then it's like the lighting only comes from the doorway. It's kind of great.
What a way to kill a guy, though. Like, he's trying to relax in the tub. He's probably going to take out the paper, a cigar. I'm going to sit in here for a few hours. I might take a shit in here. I don't know.
Ugh.
And then you don't think that this big Italian mob slob is taking a shit in the tub?
No. God, I hope not.
I don't even know. I didn't even mean to say that. Like, I just said shit, like, trying to mean something else.
I know what you
it's
mean.
Like, nope, I gotta run with it. I have to say that he actually poops in the tub. Ma, come on! You know I like to poop in the tub on Sunday nights. So we go back to Gordon's office, and they're talking about how Johnny Vitti crime scene. This has to be an unusual crime scene, right? Because it's at Johnny Vitti's house.
Mm-hmm.
Who called the cops? Would you call the cops? Wouldn't you just get rid of his body?
I maybe if it was one of the, I don't know. I think maybe if it was like one of just like the lowly ones, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But
this
is a main family member, and he's been murdered.
And you have the judges and stuff in like your pocket, so you're
right.
like, you need to figure out who killed my nephew.
Exactly.
I will give you that. I'll give you that. Because I kept thinking, like, why did they call the cops? They know, like, Harvey Dent is going to, like, have to be in charge of this case. But I guess he's, like, testing them, like, okay, you people say you're law and order. Like, find out who killed my... I guess the other thing about that, too, would be this clearly was not me. I'm telling you it's not me because I'm telling you to come in and investigate this.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I want to find out who it was.
Right.
It's just interesting because they have the evidence. Like, it's Dent, it's Gordon, and Batman in the shadows, and they're all talking about the evidence that they picked up, which was the jack-o'-lantern and the gun. And Harvey's like, 2 shots to the head. You asked me, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And Gordon's like, District Attorney Dent. I don't want to hear that coming from you, publicly or privately. So they're talking about what it is. The baby bottle nipple, silencer, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dent's like, don't forget the pumpkin. Happy Halloween, Johnny Vitti. Bang, you're dead. And he's like, well, who could have done this? Was it Maroney? Was it Carla trying to start some sort of gang war?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, she wouldn't have killed her own son. Don't you think, Batman? And then Batman had already left.
Right.
Batman left because he could tell that Catwoman was on some other
he was totally just
spying.
seeking out Catwoman. Mm-hmm. That's all. I don't know.
So
Harvey Dent's face, though, in this one is creepy. A creepy-ass face in this.
The one panel where he says the 2 shots to the head.
Yes.
Yeah, his front teeth are sticking out kind of weird. It's a weird, strangely drawn panel for sure. Thank you, Rachel, for doing that. I appreciate it. Rachel did the same face. She did the same pose just for me.
I have to do it for Kevin sometimes. I have to make the weird faces, you know?
Yeah. Curiosity killed the cat. And then they start saying, like, well, I was wondering where you were going to be. And Catwoman's like, haven't you heard? There's $1 billion bounty on my head. And Batman's like, yeah, me too. Mine too. And she's like, well, I'm not you. I, don't have all the resources that you have. Yeah. So he asked her what she wants this time. And he's like, I don't want any help or anything. But I thought, like, I might be able to be helpful in this case. And she's like, well, what do you want? And so she is flirting with him and is like, well, maybe someday you can do something in return for me. So she must tell him something about Halloween night, because it's Halloween night in Gotham City, and Catwoman had told them, I guess, where to find all the mob money that they aren't able to launder.
That's my assumption. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we find out that Harvey and Batman...
Yeah, he takes Harvey.
He takes Harvey, and they're going to find all the mob money, and they find this comically large pile of money stacked to the top of a warehouse in just an obnoxious amount of stacks.
It's like, here's your skyscrapers of money.
Yes.
You want to pretend to be Godzilla and go through your skyscrapers of money. That's what this is.
It is outrageous. It looks like something from Scrooge
trillions
McDuck.
upon trillions of money.
Yeah, it's billions of dollars. Yeah.
Like,
at this point, just stop the business.
You
have enough money.
It's definitely Scrooge McDuck, and I also feel like Scrooge McDuck would also launder money.
100%.
He doesn't have enough money. Yeah.
In a different universe, Batman is chasing down Scrooge McDuck
and his
the Scourge.
Nephews.
The Scourge of Duckburg. That's Huey. I'm at Huey's wedding. He was going to testify against Scrooge.
Oh, my God.
And the good nephew, Donald.
Louis? Oh. Donald. Yes.
I can't do a Donald Duck impression, or I would.
You can't. I can't.
But yeah, this is a Scrooge McDuckian-sized pile of money. Again, from The Dark Knight, when he does the slide down the pile.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. There's a lot of parallels now that you're pointing them out. Okay.
They took a lot from this book. So Dent says, geez, like, if it was two other guys in a room full of this much cash, and Batman's like, but we're not. You know what the interesting thing about this is, too? Mm-hmm. Catwoman didn't, I mean, we don't know. Catwoman could have taken some money, but Catwoman, of all people, is like, I'll tell you where the money is. Burn it.
Right.
That's how much she wants revenge or whatever on Carmine. She
absolutely.
is like,
it's dirty money. Yep.
But like Catwoman wouldn't care if it's dirty. That's what makes it interesting, because she's just like, yeah, take it. Like, I'm not going to even like fight you for it here.
Sure.
And Batman says, like, we're not those kind of guys. And he's like, yeah, I was just thinking about how easy. And he's like, don't think that. So they burn just their half, and they burn the entire pile of all of Carmine's stuff, and they commit arson.
They commit arson. That's right.
Blow up the warehouse. Batman says, because he's been saying like the Roman is laughing, like anytime like something bad happens, like when Richard Daniel got killed or whatever, he always says like, you know, somewhere in Gotham City the Roman is laughing. And this time when they blow up the warehouse, he goes, somewhere the Roman isn't laughing anymore.
Right.
But it is Halloween.
It is
and
Halloween.
Harvey comes home. He comes home satisfied after committing arson.
Yeah, he's happy. The mob. Oh, he's happy. Yeah. He's like, I'm committing, crimes. Yeah. This is great.
Well, he knows that this was a victory for them.
Yes.
And he asks these kids that are trick-or-treating if they got plenty of candy, and they say, we sure did.
Yeah, we sure
and he
did,
walks in,
mister.
and Gilda's like, are you smiling? And he's like, yep.
She's like,
I
never
am
smile
smiling
anymore. Like, she like breaks down.
Yeah, she always seems like that throughout. He might
as well tell her, look, I committed a crime. It made me happy. They could just become Bonnie and Clyde. They would be so happy together.
So she's like, good. I was hoping that you'd have a good day. I'm gonna make it a night you'll remember too. So
we all know that means, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna really have some fun.
Some snoo.
And yep, they're gonna have snoo.
I don't know why that popped into my head.
They're like, well, let me open up this package for a second, like the mail. They're like, I don't know what this is. It came about an hour ago for you, and it's clearly like a bomb that they've got, and they blow up.
Yeah, somebody in a car says, "Do it."
Yeah, and they set it off, and it blows up in the house. The jack-o'-lanterns go flying, and the last words of that issue are, I believe in Jim Gordon, I believe in Harvey Dent, I believe in Gotham City.
Yep.
And that's the end of that issue. And Rachel, when you finished that issue, you were like, I didn't expect them to kill off Harvey.
That character. Well, I said I wouldn't believe that they'd kill off that character. And then I think I said, but it's just his origin. Because it reminded me of Dark Knight, where he's in a building, and boom, the gas and the fire and his face. So I was expecting that.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. See, I always know that the traditional Heart Two-Face origin is always with the acid. Mm-hmm. But I could see that. I could see where you were thinking, like, he's going to become disfigured because of this now. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That was definitely a extra large issue. Mm-hmm. Like, I bet you that one cost a $4.99 or something to get that one back in the 90s. Because it's like, it's especially long. It's like trade back version. It's like 56 pages. So like, it's like a double wide issue.
Was that issue 1?
That was issue 1.
Okay.
Everything we just discussed was just issue 1. So now we make it to chapter 2.
Issue 2. Chapter 2.
Well, it says chapter 2 at the top of mine.
That's fine. Yeah, 2 of 13.
Chapter 2.
Fair.
Rachel, chapter 2 is called... Yes.
Thanksgiving.
What did you say the first time?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I thought you said wings giving, and I was like, wings giving?
A Dark Knight Halloween special Thanksgiving in 13 parts.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so they still called it a Dark Knight
Knight.
Halloween special.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what
That
it
is
says.
interesting.
Yeah.
Rachel, the cover for chapter 2, Thanksgiving.
It is a man that we'll meet.
Solomon Grundy.
Solomon Grundy. Yeah, if everybody's favorite character, Solomon Grundy.
Everyone's favorite character. Oh, the kids love Solomon Grundy.
I don't know who
Don't
that
you
is.
know? I mean, I've been waiting 30 years for a Solomon Grundy to be the main villain of a movie. I'm gonna look up Solomon Grundy real quick.
So Solomon Grundy is at a dinner table with a tiny plate, a big old turkey, some drinks, and 2 skeletons in suits. And they're all in, the characters themselves are black and white, and the table is in color, which is like blue and brown and red. It's like almost like they're drinking wine out of regular cups, but I'm assuming it's most like blood. It's
blood.
It's like, ooh, spooky.
It's the long Halloween,
Yeah. The ripped up, tattered
skeletons.
Yeah, and then it's ripped up, tattered
Shirts.
tablecloth.
Oh, tablecloth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Solomon
And,
Grundy just like kind of buffed out of his. You can kind of like his arms don't. They don't really fit.
Yeah, we'll have to look up Solomon Grundy when we get there. So issue 2 starts with Batman in the shadows in Gordon's office going, Harvey Dent is dead. And they are interrogating Mickey, this Irish gangster.
Oh, this is so interesting. These Irishmen. I kind of just expect it to be like really, really heavy Irish accents.
That's what you think? Oh yeah, like ridiculous Irish accents. Like, you think that I'm gonna come in here and tell you everything or whatever? That kind of,
Yeah.
Definitely. He says that Mickey is a little fish and they're trying to catch a big fish. I appreciate that there's a map of Gotham City in the back too. You kind of get a layout of the land there of how like Gotham City looks.
Right.
I really wish that you could tell where like Wayne Manor is on this map, because he's got to be like off on the edge of the map, right? Like he's off into a whole different.
I assume so.
Whole different zip code.
He has his own zip code. It's the
That's
Wayne
right.
zip code.
Yeah, maybe you should figure out where your jurisdiction ends. So Gordon is like, we want to know who hired you to do this. So they're suspecting that Mickey the Mink Sullivan was the one that blew up Harvey and Gilda Dent's house.
Yes.
Mickey runs a small-time operation called the Irish. Donnie Boy Sullivan, his older brother. Jimmy Slick. Dapper Kevin, which is what I would like to be known as from now on.
I was like,
I'm Dapper Kevin.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
I'll have to close it by saying that. And Willie 2 times. And they're all downstairs in a holding cell. Except I don't want to be here. So it's clearly Thanksgiving, because Gordon says that his wife has made a turkey and stuffing, and that's where decent, honest people should be on this day. But Justice doesn't have a calendar, Mickey. And if you tell us who paid you to kill Gotham City's district attorney, I'm going to miss that Thanksgiving dinner.
I guess y'all would be missing your Thanksgiving boyo. That freaking boyo.
Yeah, boyo. Because I don't know Carmine Falcone. Never even heard of him. So he's like, you made the bomb. This nail was part of the bomb. So they're doing their detective work, and they're saying, like, it was,
They were able to trace back where that nail was bought.
With a receipt.
Yep.
Why did he take a receipt?
We have the receipt.
So he sits there, and he thinks for a second.
Just
and
Batman saying, I have the receipt, and, holding a piece of paper.
Yeah. I like the idea of Batman, dangling a little piece of paper in front of a guy. Harvey Dent. It isn't like he didn't have it coming. If it weren't me that done the deed, there was a liner on the block to do it anyway. So they're like, Mickey talks, he bought the nails. You knew it was only a matter of time before this was going to happen. And we get a flashback of Mickey, in his, apartment or something like that. And he busts out a window and, or it's a hotel. And then, tries to run away from Batman. Yes. But he goes down the sewers. And Batman chases him down the sewers. In the sewers happens to be Solomon Grundy.
Born on a Monday.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
born on a Monday. I just didn't know if you knew that.
He was
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah. So Solomon Grundy, has Mickey, and Batman has to convince Solomon Grundy not to kill him or whatever. But Batman ends up then fighting with Solomon Grundy. All right. So I've got to look up and try to figure out who Solomon Grundy is in the Batman universe, huh?
It says he's a zombie.
Yeah, I think that's correct. He's a supervillain.
Like Frankenstein's monster?
A murder victim brought back to life as a zombie. And his name is taken from the 19th century nursery rhyme Solomon Grundy. So it's from a nursery rhyme. It's very odd.
Oh, okay. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday. That's why he does that.
Yes.
Took ill on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the end of Solomon Grundy.
So that's why he does that. It's just such a weird thing that they, have this character down there.
He just hangs out in the sewers.
Well, what are you going to do when you're...
I don't know.
I mean, what else could you do? So Batman fights Solomon Grundy, this zombie based off of a 19th century rhyme. I kind of want to know if Solomon Grundy comes back a lot in the comics, or if he's just
well, it says his strength is on par with Kryptonians.
Oh, interesting.
He's proven highly resistant to the effects of the original Green Lantern's power ring.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's kind of overpowered here.
A little bit. And he has a healing factor.
Oh. Which doesn't really excuse the fact then that when Batman punches him in the nose and he gets really pissed off at him, so then Grundy tries to bear hug Batman. He pokes his nostril or something to get out of the bear hug, and he's regretful of it because he's I really didn't want to. I didn't want to hurt Solomon Grundy.
I was so confused as to what was happening in that frame. Because it looks like
he's picking his nose.
It looks like there's a thimble on his finger, for one. It doesn't look like a nose. It looks like... I don't know what he's doing.
I thought he...
Because it's it's like the bridge of the nose between the eyes.
But I thought he broke his nose. Because I thought he took his two
going
fingers
up
and
one
jammed...
finger and it's broken in the middle? He doesn't have two nostrils?
No,
because...
I think I thought it's just the way that you're seeing it. I think he took two fingers into the nostrils and pushed up, so he broke his sinuses or something.
It's one finger.
Is it
one finger?
Hang on, I gotta look at this page.
We have to analyze.
That's a wide ass finger, Rachel. Yeah, that's a strangely.
It doesn't make sense.
Oddly drawn.
I don't understand what I'm looking at. Maybe it is two fingers, but he also has 5 other fingers around his two fingers.
One finger in his nose or two?
Anyways.
It feels like it should be two. In any
no, it
event.
Makes sense, but why does it look like that? That's a really. I'm sorry, but that looks bad.
It's bad. So Batman's pissed off that Mickey made him hurt Solomon Grundy to get out of there. And we go back to the interrogation room. So
he's reaching for something
Mickey's
in his utility belt. Hold on a second. I'm coming back to the nose for a minute. If you look, there's the nose frame. And before that, he reaches for something. What is he touching him with? He's touching him with something. I don't think he's up his nose.
Okay. He has something in his hand, too. In the following page. I have no idea. Brass knucks or something? I have no idea what he's doing.
I don't know.
It looks like he's holding a cigarette.
It does. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go on.
Anyway, okay. I'm glad that we got hung up on this Solomon Grundy
It was one of the only things that bugged me in the artwork. All right?
So Mickey is saying that he did the deed, and he's like, all right, I'll put it in writing. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And he's like, but we all know what didn't gone and done. And he's like, what does that mean? What are you trying to say? And he's like, only that you got to be asking yourselves, who killed Johnny Vitti? So he's saying that he thinks that Harvey Dent killed Johnny Vitti. And Batman just stands there, and Gordon's like, you know what, we're done. You can get out of here. Gordon is like, you think there was anything to it? Because this isn't the first time I've heard. And he's like, that Harvey Dent was the one that did it? He's like, I don't believe that. I can't believe that. Neither should you.
It's the I can't believe that part. It's like, I can't believe that. Oh, come on.
Right.
You can't rule out everybody, like, rule out specific people.
There's a nice, like, 3-panel thing here of them. They're leading Mickey back. It's clearly, like, one shape of a guard.
Yes.
The lights turn off, and when they turn back on, it's a different guard.
Yep.
So it's clearly a
switcheroo.
Yeah. And Gordon says, well, why would Mickey confess and not implicate the Roman in this? Because if he doesn't, then he's, like, looking at the gas chamber. And Batman says, he's scared of someone very powerful. Mm-hmm. And we go to the Roman's penthouse. They're making Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
Carmine is.
Carmine
He's adding
is
some
actually
sausages.
making it.
You know, you gotta stir the sauce. Gotta just keep stirring that fucking sauce. And Alberto's there, and Carla busts down the door, like, looking like Nancy Grace, and says, she does.
She does. Yep.
And
down
says,
to that power suit and everything.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, Johnny, my boy's in the ground, and, you know, I don't have anything to be thankful for.
What do I gotta be so goddamn thankful for?
Thank you. Yes. And Carmen's like, Carla, it's being handled with. And he's like, what, the DA? Don't think this was all the work of Harvey Dent. And Alberto's just looking back and forth between the two of them. So we get his glasses again in a panel. And it's that same way that he was looking at Bruce. And they're just fighting with each other about, like, Johnny being dead and, like, not doing anything about it. Back in the holding cell, then they're like, we're going to be okay. And they're, like, all talking to each other. And, like, they're planning on taking over, like, some territory or something. I think that's the idea. But they, like, all need to, like, confess to the crime.
Right. They all did a very specific piece of the detailed whole event.
Right. So he's like, that didn't work. So they're like, you know what? Bring Mickey back up. So Batman's like, I'm going to intimidate the fuck out of him now. This is what it turns out.
Yes.
In a very... Do you want to call this noir? Or do you want to call this
Scooby-Doo?
It's very Scooby-Doo. That it was not Mickey. They switched Mickeys. And he's like, no, they're too stupid, and I did a good enough Irish accent. And he pulls off this mask, and it turns out that it was Harvey Dent the whole time. Mm-hmm. The fuck did they pull this off?
Well, I think when they changed the guard, they also changed Harvey.
Yeah.
I think it was both of them changed.
Yeah.
But you're right. How the hell did they pull this off? That has to be the best mask in the world. They must have zero lighting in those cells, and Harvey must have the perfect Irish accent and can do his voice beautifully, because what the hell?
Yeah, Scooby-Doo mask and all.
Yes.
I do like when Dent's taking the mask off and he says, I don't know how you do it, Bats, being two people at once, assuming you are two people. But he decides that he wants to let the Irish out because he wants to see what the Romans' response is. Mm-hmm. Because if he thinks that they cut a deal, what's the Roman going to do? They confessed to attempted murder. They blew up your house. They put Gilda in the hospital. And he's like, well, they're still going to make bail. They'll bribe the judge or whatever. Like, let's just let them out. And Gordon's like, you know what? Charge them anyway. And they do. But Batman's like, Harvey was wrong. They made bail in less than an hour.
Right.
So it's like they still got out anyway. I do kind of want to know how the hell Gilda and Harvey survived this.
I don't know. Did they know it was a bomb, so he threw it? Like,
he must have thrown it. Yeah, that's like the only explanation.
Her?
Gilda's still in the hospital, which I think is key for the end of this book. Gilda is in the hospital.
Right.
Gordon came home late, so he didn't get to eat with them. And I thought it was kind of touching, Rachel.
They didn't even eat. They're like, the turkey's still just sitting there under wraps. Like, she didn't even cut the turkey. That kid could have had his dinner.
You have the kid's like a year old.
Okay, fine.
I think you do Black Friday afternoon turkey. That's fine.
That's like the best type. You have after Thanksgiving leftover. Fantastic. You put the leftovers. You make sandwiches. And some soups and it's
that's
great.
What they're gonna do. They'll be fine. It's fine. I kind of liked. I thought it was a little touching. This is where I was like, I just don't know enough about Solomon Grundy to know like why Batman's being so nice to him. Because Batman gives him a nice turkey dinner.
He does.
Like to be like, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I punched you in the nose and then did something weird. I just still don't know.
And then did something to you. The Irish are all celebrating the fact that they got out. But then somebody opens up their hotel room suite door, wearing gloves, shoots them all without the Irish being able to respond, and leaves them all dead at their Thanksgiving dinner with a cornucopia.
A little cornucopia.
Which is the only thing that's colored on the last page is the cornucopia.
Right.
I like that little
good.
touch there too.
That is good.
So all the Irish were killed. And that's this book, each chapter each issue becomes very patterned, where now at the end of each chapter is when you get the holiday kill. Mm-hmm. Like, that is how it works now.
Right.
Which brings us to chapter 3, entitled Christmas.
A Dark Night Halloween Special, Christmas, in 13 parts. That's what it says.
Rachel, what does the cover of Christmas look like?
It's the Joker. This is all very colorful, by the way. It's red, green, and
his
purples,
purple suit.
But it's the Joker in a Santa hat sitting on a throne. Presents everywhere. There's a puppy, I think. You know, there's Batman symbols on all of the presents.
Well, there is a puppy.
Yeah. And
a teddy bear.
Yeah, a teddy bear, a bicycle. It's great. You know, it's very festive. And he looks
interesting thing
sinister.
Is, you get the full cover, and I only get, like, a part of it, so I don't have the bicycle on mine.
Oh, you got the seat. Here, let me show you it.
Oh, that's neat. Okay. A Dark Night Halloween Special. Christmas. I just like that. A Dark Night Halloween Special. Christmas. Well, because each one of these chapters... I do like there's 13, too. Yeah, and each one of these issues would have came out in the month representing the month that it came out in. So this would have came out in December, and, you know, you're allowed to, to do that then.
Oh, I like it.
This issue features the Joker. It begins with the Joker singing Living in a Winter Wonderland, which I don't think is a song, but he's making up his own song. I think he's just making it up because he's going Happy Holidays at the beginning, and then he just goes da 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 da, living in a winter wonderland. So he's I
think
singing.
It's like all of the songs together, and he hates it. I hate that song.
First of all, he's eating Fruit Loops or Cocoa Puffs or something. Did you notice this?
Fruity Pebbles?
Fruity Pebbles.
No,
maybe?
They're like the balls. They're like the balls of fruity things.
Yeah, what is that? Kix?
Which one? Is it more of like a Kix thing?
Maybe it's like a Kix, but he's eating cereal.
The cereal tournament backlog?
Yep. Backlog. I enjoy the idea of the Joker is eating breakfast and reading a newspaper.
Yes.
Well, coming up with plans to be the Joker.
Right.
So
he wants to be the Grinch in this one.
He definitely acts like the Grinch in this one. Mm-hmm. Even the features on his face are like elongated to be like the Grinch in this. This newspaper has photos of the crime scene.
Yes.
Very strange.
Yes.
That they would publish these photos of the dead
graphic dead bodies.
Yeah, very odd.
That's very weird.
He rips up the newspaper, makes it snow, and he goes, I hate that song.
I hate that song. All right, Grinch.
We find out that
Grinch.
It really wasn't him eating cereal at breakfast and reading the newspaper. He's actually got a family tied up at some random house.
I bet he was still eating cereal.
Oh, I would hope so, yeah. Do you think that he was doing this to just random families just to terrorize them?
Yes. I do, actually. I think he was.
Because he does, steal their tree and presents and stuff and just, leaves them wrapped up. It's very unsettling. This is very Joker-esque, but you're right. It is kind of Grinchy, too.
He's very Grinchy.
He's doing this.
Well, because he says, was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. I do like his shadow, though, that, also has the maniacal smile, but looks like it's, it doesn't look like it's a part of him.
Yes. I see what you're saying.
It has its own character. It's a very Peter Pan shadow.
It is kind of Peter Pan.
Yeah,
definitely. We cut then to Batman saying that it is Christmas Eve, and the serial killer, this is when the newspapers have started dubbing it holiday. So he's like, he or she has struck on Thanksgiving and Halloween. Tomorrow is Christmas. So Gordon and him are at Arkham Asylum. On Christmas Eve, Jim! You don't need to do this. What are you doing?
Because it's a holiday.
You could have came on the 23rd. Batman doesn't have a family. He's Batman. You do.
Well, Batman should have told him that then. Go home to your family, Gordon.
Yeah, what the fuck, Batman? Like, tell him you can go home. We can wait till tomorrow. It's not like we're going to stop him.
We're not going to stop him. We're just going to find out what he does.
That was almost Alec Baldwin, that one.
Was it? I'm sorry.
A little bit. Yeah, it all blends together.
I'll
it's
stop
fine.
doing it.
No. How dare you? Jim says that the Joker has escaped again and attacked some family, took all their Christmas presents and stuff. So he's like, Batman goes, I know. And Gordon's like, how do you know? Never mind. He says, Gordon does, that he's like, this has like been double the amount of people are in this fucking asylum since you first arrived. Do you ever think that there's some correlation there? And Batman just goes, no. Just does not want to think about that possibility.
Right.
He says that he knows that, like, he's implying that his presence attracts these kind of people here. And he's like, I still trust him, though.
I feel like it just gives them... They just now give their crimes a flourish.
Yeah.
They would be doing stuff regardless.
Yeah.
But now they're like, I can put on a costume.
Mm-hmm.
It's more fun that way.
Well, and they're kind of a little crazy, so it, like,
right.
gives them credence to be a little crazy and to allow them to do this kind of stuff, too.
Right.
They're at Arkham Asylum because they are visiting Julian Day, the Calendar Man. So I think this is one of those, like, obscure Batman villains, the Calendar Man. Rachel, any thoughts about the Calendar Man? Is this your first time you've ever seen the Calendar Man?
This is the first time I've ever seen the Calendar Man. This was interesting, and I felt like you gave me a voice for him, and I was like, yeah, that's the voice. It was a little bit, like, nasally weaselly.
Kind of like, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, hello
yeah,
there,
hello,
detective.
I'm the Calendar Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what it seems like.
13 days, half September, April, June. It's like,
Yeah.
all right,
He's
dude,
obsessed
you're creepy.
with calendars. And he says, tomorrow's the big day.
So
she'll be killing again.
Yeah, he goes back to he goes back and forth between saying she and he.
Yes, he does, which does come to play at the end of the book.
Yeah, I can't tell. What is his shtick? Is he just interested in in calendar dates too? Does he have some weird omnipresence? Because like, I don't understand why they would come to this guy.
Because I thought they said it.
Like,
he commits crimes inside,
sure.
With a calendar.
Fair.
So like,
so they think
it's
he's
Arbor Day.
committing
He's
these
gonna
crimes?
kill somebody with a tree or whatever. So they think that he could help them because they know that this guy commits it around holidays. So they're like, can you help us get into like his psyche? I think, right?
That's what it is. I couldn't tell if they're like, are you doing it? Because it's like, no, he's in the...
No. I think
right
they're trying to figure out... I think they're trying to figure out his psyche. I think they're like, what would motivate someone to do it only on holidays? Which, like, I think it's just a gimmick. I don't think that it's like an obsession. It's just a gimmick.
It's totally a gimmick. It's one of those holiday gimmicks.
And Calendar Man eventually starts going like, you'll be lucky so far. In February, there's Lincoln's birthday, Washington's birthday, and President's Day.
He doesn't even talk about Valentine's Day, which is like the actual one that they use.
Right. Well, because I think they're pointing out that there's a ton of holidays that he doesn't use, too.
Right.
Yeah. And Gordon's like, you don't think we'll catch them by then? And then he just goes, Groundhog's Day, Ash Wednesday, Secretary. He's like getting off on the idea of holidays.
Yeah, maybe he is just, Hanukkah, Boxing Day.
Oh, I have a feeling this gentleman has pleasured himself.
Easter.
To just dates on a calendar.
Ew.
Like, I'm sure that there
You're
are
not
people
wrong,
out there
but
that have pleasured themselves to like the Fireman calendars or the Sports Illustrated calendars or whatever.
He just sees the date and he goes, oh.
This guy just sees a date. Yeah. Batman's,
he asks somebody the date and he goes,
yeah, exactly.
From it. Like, gross, dude.
Do you have the day?
It's October 3rd.
I appreciate that reference. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You're welcome. Meanwhile, at the speakeasy known as Maroni's Italian Restaurant. So it's Salvatore Maroni, and he's with one of his
Toots.
one of his confidants. Yeah, Toots. And they're talking about, like, is Dent the holiday killer? And they're like, I don't know, like, I can't tell. Toots starts laughing, though, uncontrollably.
Right.
And all I could think of then was in the animated series, when Joker would use the laughing gas, they always would do this score where it would be like, do, 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 do.
Oh, yes! It would become very silly.
Yeah. And then Joker would become like a... It would, like,
and then
Mark
everybody
Hamill
like...
laugh. Yeah.
And they can't stop laughing.
And he collapses dead in his spaghetti.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's Joker. Very sharp jawline.
Oh, so sharp. Very evil clown Halloween-esque type thing.
Not like the red lips or anything.
No.
He has very... This version, this way, yeah, Joker is drawn. He's got the white face. He's got the green hair.
But he has
big-ass
million
piano teeth. Like piano-sized key teeth.
Yeah,
here.
he's definitely wearing some sort of denture because he's got, like, so many teeth. It's confusing. Shark teeth.
So he
clown?
is pretending to... A clown. So he's pretending to be the waiter for Maroni, and Maroni calls him a clown. And before he can pull out the gun, Joker pulls out this massive, like, comically sized gun. Yeah. He accuses Maroni of being Holiday.
Yes.
The people that have been killed so far are the Romans' men, so you have the most to gain. And he's like, I am not the Holiday. This is just business. I don't give a shit about any of this stuff, and this is screwing business up for everyone. And Joker's like, well, then who is Holiday? So, like, Joker wants to find out, too.
Right.
They pull out Toots, because now they have to, bury Toots or throw him in the river or whatever.
Yes, now this is to your point.
Yes.
Right, well, Toots is dead, so...
Like, who cares about Toots?
Drop
We're
his
just gonna
body.
throw him away. Yeah. While they're getting ready to do this...
Because they know who killed him, I guess, and everything, so it's kind of like, it's all fixed.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Yeah, whatever. Like, we don't care. Like, we're not going to stop the Joker. Like, let this freak do whatever he wants, Now, one of the interesting things as this book progresses is that it transitions more from the mob having all the power to the freaks and the rogues gallery having all the power. Like, the real supervillains,
Yes.
So this is like that in-between time where, like, Joker is not feared by these men. He is a clown to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Joker, this is a young Joker where he's, like, a spaz,
Sure, I understand that, yeah.
Batman gets the jump on these guys, and then he stops Maroni, like, grabs his hand before Maroni can take the gun out. And he's like, you used to be a smart man, but that wasn't very smart. And he's like, what happened here tonight? And Maroni goes, some guy calls himself the Joker, which means that the Joker isn't very well known, you know?
Yes. So he's not well known, he's not feared yet.
Because if he was, Maroni would just go, it was the Joker. Like,
right.
Batman would know who the Joker
calls him some
is.
guy.
Yeah. Came looking for Holiday. And he's like, well, how's he connected? And he's like, how should I know? He's a fucking lunatic like you. This whole town's full of them ever since you showed up. And Batman punches him in the gut for saying that and then just takes off. So, meanwhile, at
the
stately...
most colorful part of the entire thing.
Absolutely. It's... Gilda's got a blindfold on, and asks Harvey if she can look, and they say Merry Christmas. And it turns out that Harvey has bought this little cottage that they can have after their house blew up.
A little bit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of happiness.
Harvey says they can't really afford it, but he'll have to just work twice as hard. Which, of course, is the interesting thing about Harvey, because he's clearly a workaholic. He cannot stop. He's so passionate about this. Harvey carries her in, and they're talking about maybe trying to have children again. And Harvey notices some footprints on the floor and says, Gilda, why don't you have a look around upstairs? While she goes upstairs, he goes into the other room, and Joker is there.
Yes.
And
I love the lighting on his face with this. This is fun.
He's doing more he's doing more Grinch.
He's being a
Grinch
Grinch again. Yes.
Saying, my sweet little tot, there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side.
Right.
Folks at home, see the back catalog for The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. We did cover that.
We did. Go enjoy it.
So Harvey
for
begins
Halloween
fighting
and
Joker.
Christmas.
For Halloween and Christmas. What the fuck? Who cares? Harvey starts fighting Joker. He tells Dent that he's good, but he's no Batman. And then he is able to overpower Dent, and he goes, but the question is, what sort of man are you? This town isn't big enough for 2 homicidal maniacs. So his point is that he wants to take out Holiday because he thinks he's stealing his thunder.
Yes, exactly.
He just leaves. He just tells Harvey, like, if I find out that you're Holiday, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
And then just leaves.
And he tells
him. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Harvey just says, get out of my house, too.
Yeah.
No denial.
Well, because he's just trying to figure out, yeah, you're right. He doesn't deny it, does he?
Nope.
Then the Joker makes a stop at the Roman's penthouse. He just walks in through the window. And he puts a playing card that must be able to, like, kill him up to his neck. And he's just
I think he's just threatening to, like, cut his throat with it.
Yep, exactly. And he's telling Falcone, like, you figure out who Holiday is, or I'm going to kill everyone until I do.
That feels about right. That's very Joker-esque.
And it turns out that he gassed most of Falcone's men, too, and gets into a fight with one of Falcone's guys. As he does, he throws a bunch of playing cards at that guy and runs away. And that guy goes to find his gun. As he's picking up the gun, it goes back into black and white again. And that guy turns.
Joker speeds off, and off frame you see an arm poke out with a gun from the opposite side and shoot this guy.
Shoots this guy. And the Holiday Killer strikes again. This time he left
a cute little snow globe with a little snowman in it.
Yeah. But now there's a bunch of Joker cards around, too.
Right.
And it turns out that it was Milos. It was the Roman's personal bodyguard.
Mm-hmm. Is it Milos?
Maybe it's Milos.
How do you say that?
It's Milos! Another game for Milos!
I think it's Milos.
I have no problem calling him Milos.
It was just when you said it out loud, I went, wait a minute.
That doesn't sound right.
I think it's me either way, and not my.
Oh me, oh my. Batman shows up, and the Joker cards are there. So now he's like, does Joker have something to do with this? Because, like, he got out, like Maroni said. So now he's trying to figure out if that's happening, and that's the end of issue 3.
Yes.
So as you can see, the pace picks up quite a bit as the book goes on, too, as to what happens here. Rachel, chapter 4 is...
Chapter 4, A Dark Knight Halloween Special, New Year's Eve, in 13 parts. It is Batman and the Joker clinking champagne glasses where they break in the middle.
Yeah.
And you can see their reflections.
Yeah, I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
Why not? Spend an evening together.
Grays, blues, and blacks, and some purples in there, you know. I guess you can see the Joker's green and yellow on his teeth.
The first page of this issue is a giant Joker head with those big piano teeth. And he's clearly so like in some sort of getup.
It's very Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. He has absconded a plane, and he's hijacked this plane by knocking out this crew, which is weird because it's just like this little like maybe this just happened to be like who was at this.
I think it was whoever was there. He was just knocking them out.
Yeah,
but like, is it his plane? Because it has a face in the front of it.
It does have a face on the front of it. Why would he have a plane, though?
I don't know. It's the Joker's little plane, you know?
Or he, like, has, like, a big sticker or something that he had a week
He must have. He must have put a frickin' sticker on there, because it's got a face.
Yeah, it's very odd. We actually get the Batmobile here in this next scene, because it's Bruce. He is driving in the Batmobile, and it turns out that Joker killed the ground crew. So that's what it says. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's only just begun because he's bent on using his deadly Joker gas on the crowd that gathers in Gotham Square at midnight. He cannot handle what Holiday's doing. He immediately
just goes, like, this is what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, you know, he might have figured it out. So he finds the plane, and he shoots himself up to it. Meanwhile, at the office of Harvey Dent, Harvey is sitting there. He's looking through stuff.
All of the papers.
Mm-hmm.
Obsessively.
Yes. And we meet Harvey's assistant district attorney, Vernon.
Yep.
Looks like Gus Griswold.
Yeah, it is. It's Weasley Gus Griswold. Gus Griswold.
Gustav.
As an older person.
An adult, if you will.
As an adult.
One of them adults.
I'm not redoing any of that. It's fine.
Nope. I'm keeping it all in.
Okay.
Vernon says, you've been working late. You've been working late very much, sir. You've been working late every night this week. Harvey's like, you're putting in a lot of hours. See, there's a couple of different ways to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually gets up to leave, and he's like, hey, it's New Year's Eve. Go do something. Before he can, Vernon's like, well, there's something here on the Roman case. Dent actually says, they could probably wait. And he's like, no, there's a connection here between the Roman and Bruce Wayne. Dent is like, well, based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like it looks like Bruce might have known about this. And
right.
That's how we leave that thread.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Batman, big apologies on that one, Bruce. No problem. Batman is trying to get up to the top to stop the Joker from letting the Gotham city be gassed and everything. Batman comes up and he's like, oh, okay, but we're going to have a little fight here. I like the 2-page spread of Batman just going, put the plane down.
Yes.
Upside down, looking in Joker's face, and Joker's just laughing at him.
Right.
That's a good one.
I just expect crazy laughter out of him this entire time.
Yeah. And Joker's like, well, maybe later, but right now I've got some work to do. And he is able to shove Batman off the plane, but Batman grabs it, so they just continue to fight. Meanwhile, on the yacht of Carmine the Roman Falcone...
in Gotham Harbor...
they're celebrating the New Year. Everyone's on the boat. Maroni has a broken arm from Batman breaking it at Christmas. And they're telling each other that, we have to put aside our differences to stop the holiday. Mm-hmm. Carmine says, all I know is this struns like to hit members of my family. My business. Doesn't seem to be any blood on your side of the table. And Maroni says, what are you saying, Falcone? He says, have a happy New Year, Sal. You're right. It might be your last. So he's threatening him.
Right, of course.
Carla comes up and is like, you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, eh, Carmine? Just like Papa. And Carmine's going paranoid because he accuses Carla of potentially being the holiday killer. And Carla doesn't say anything and is like, I think I saw, because he asked where Alberto was, and Carla's like, I thought he was up on the deck. I'll go see him. You get some internal monologue from Carmine here where he's like, what a lovely nest of vipers I've surrounded myself with. If it weren't for Alberto, there'd be nobody I could trust. This is where I think we are right about the way Carmine thinks about his son, where he's like, he trusts his son. He actually thinks his son is the good one.
Yeah, I think he loves that son, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he doesn't want him the wrong way. Right.
Yeah. Then the holiday killer strikes again. So Alberto is on the deck. Carla's smoking a cigarette. The light bulb is taken out. And someone shoots Alberto, seemingly. And what's left on the deck is just a champagne glass with some that, fun stuff.
Confetti stuff. And
a blood trail in the water.
Yes.
Dent gets home. Harvey's hair is wet because it's been snowing. And there's a surprise. The Gordons are there. I have a theory about that. We'll get to that.
It's fine. It's fine. My hair gets incredibly wet when it's snowing too. That heavy snow.
He's got a hat on,
everything.
But it's not gonna really, The Gordons are there to celebrate the New Year's. Harvey doesn't really even say anything, so Gordon goes to talk to him. We get a moment between Gilda and Barbara. Gilda just wants to have kids, and she thought that this would be a new start for them to have the new house and everything. But between the Roman case and the Joker and the holiday in the kitchen,
the way Gordon comes through, and it's just
looks
fire.
Like he's on fire.
He looks like he's like, I'm coming from hell to talk to you, Dent.
It does. Dent says they need to talk about Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Which takes us back to the plane. Batman and Joker are continuing to fight each other. They do their usual Batman and Joker
his
shit.
giant cape eaten up by the plane.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. This is the problem with superheroes and capes,
Yeah, that's why they say no capes.
No capes.
Yeah. Part of it's even gets caught on the propeller, I think.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It gets ripped off from the propeller.
Yeah. Joker says, like, why not do this? You don't know who Holiday is. I don't know who Holiday is. But the odds are one of these people might be Holiday that's at the square, so I'll kill Holiday and we'll get rid of him. Like, that's the Joker's mentality.
If I kill enough people,
Batman,
I probably hit him.
Right. Batman, of course, is able to catch up, is able to stop him. He asks Batman if he wants to kiss because the clock strikes midnight. He punches Joker out. He stops him. Dun, dun. It's the score.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
Score in my head. The end of the chapter is Joker kind of like tied up and Batman like sitting at the top of like the Gotham like clock tower.
Yes.
Or whatever. Some time has now passed between chapter 4 and 5. A month and a half. Because what is chapter 5, Rachel?
A Dark Knight Halloween special. Valentine's Day. In 13 parts.
Valentine's Day. Bummer.
Yep. It's Valentine's Day. It's like a red cover with like one of those chocolate boxes with the white roses all around it. And inside of it is Batman in what looks like floral stuff, plants, and the cat licking his face. Like black cat, not like actual Catwoman, like a black cat.
It's like a black cat.
Oh, and his
he's
head
got
is scratched with
the
three claw marks. Three claw marks.
It feels like most of these first chapters is somebody's face too. Like, so the first page of each issue is like a big spread of somebody's face. Like the last one was Joker. I think the one before that was Batman. Like and this one,
Solomon Grundy.
No, not even the cover. I'm talking about like the first page of the issue.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
I was talking about because I'm looking at both because I've got the 2nd page. Sorry, because the first page of
it's all like a zoom in, but I feel like that's a noir, right? It's like a noir thing. Yeah, you have like the face and like everything else is in shadow and background.
Sure, no, that makes sense. The first page of this is Alfred. So Alfred joins the party.
May I help you?
Alfred, of course, is Bruce Wayne's famed butler / father figure.
Yeah. That's right.
Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
It turns out that Dent, like, why did they, I guess they needed to find, like, enough evidence to be able to do this, but they come to Wayne Manor on Valentine's Day? Like, guys, what are you doing? Why do you keep doing these things on holidays?
Yeah, this one seems odd that they waited until Valentine's Day to do it.
Yeah, they would have found something in the middle of January.
I would have thought so. Apparently it was fuck you, it's January, though, and it was only New Year's Day that they were, or like New Year's Eve that was the holiday. There was no other holiday in January.
There wasn't, though, other than Martin Luther King Day.
I'm just saying.
Here in the States, folks, the only holiday that is in January is Martin Luther King Day, outside of New Year's Day, because it's a terrible month.
Yeah, apparently. It's one of those months where everything just kind of goes meh. It's Winnie the Pooh Day.
Winnie the Pooh Day? Today is Winnie the Pooh Day?
No, on January 18th.
Oh.
I don't know why. No, it's all like stupid holidays. I was just making
Yeah, it's not a holiday. It's those stupid national
like...
days. They're like, well, where is Bruce Wayne? And Dent's like, I was invited to come here to one of his Halloween parties, but I'm not going to dress up for Bruce Wayne. So, like, he has a little disdain for billionaire Bruce Wayne.
Right.
He's a millionaire only in 1996. He's not a billionaire yet.
That's fair.
You know what's cool? $1 billion.
I do like that Alfred's like, that's a shame, because they're fun shindigs, like...
Yeah.
The masquerades are quite amusing.
So they're looking around, and they're like, sirs, maybe you could do this a different time, because I would be derelict in my duty to point out that with someone of Master Bruce's popularity, he may not be spec for some time. So he's trying to tell him, like, he's got some, he's got some chicks to smash.
He's got lots of women, and I don't know when he's going to come home, so this is kind of dumb.
Dent sees a picture of Thomas and Martha and says, like, so that's, Bruce's old man. Did you ever see someone named Falcone dropping by? And Alfred says nothing, because of course he's not gonna. And Gordon's like, this is the way that you're doing this? Like, what do you, like, why didn't we approach this a better way?
Right.
And Alfred's like, well, as I said, it's Valentine's Day. Maybe you two have other obligations. So he's like trying to tell them, like, why don't you guys go home and like spend time with your wives? And Gordon's like, did you remember a gift? And Harvey's like, no. So like they've been so obsessed they don't even remember like a Valentine's Day gift.
How awful. Get her some chocolates.
Carmine is at Alberto's gravesite. And of course Batman is there. And he says, is it worth it? And Carmine's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the price, like all of this, and your son is dead.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways that each chapter from here on out, and it did it at the beginning of the book too, is that it always introduces Carmine as the untouchable crime lord. But as the book goes and as the Roman loses power, it almost becomes insulting. Like, it almost becomes like Bruce is insulting him. Bruce is saying, like, yeah, the untouchable crime lord. Like, the less power he has.
Right.
He says, like, Alberto was never involved in the business. And Batman's like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, how many people are you going to get killed by doing your stuff? Carmine gets pissed off, and Catwoman shows up because of Ken.
Of course.
Trying to do something with the Roman, and here's Catwoman getting in the way.
Right.
I couldn't figure out the timeline because it goes from this, they're like fighting with each other, and then the next page, because like Batman grips Catwoman's hand, and then the next page it transitions to Bruce and Selina are dancing again because it's Valentine's Day.
Right.
So was this after or was this before? Do we find that out? I don't know if we ever like find that out.
I would assume that they're dancing after.
Okay, yeah, we just skipped the fight scene because we've seen that like 3 times already in the book.
Right.
Oh, I guess it is after because Bruce says, I got here as quick as I could. And
right.
Selina says, me too. So
and
like
it
must
does
have
say
been
Valentine's night, so maybe that was like during the day.
Oh, yeah, and she does say, cut yourself shaving, Bruce. So like I guess that's implying that like she must have scratched him or something. Okay. All right.
Well, she does scratch him. She scratches him in the panel.
Oh, she does. Okay, I didn't notice that.
See, that's why I'm wondering if she knows.
I think that there's a implication, but not yeah. So they're at the opera.
Especially when what later happens. I really feel like she knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how come Ivy doesn't know? Anyway, so they're at the opera. This transient person comes by, like, in this, like, mysterious, like, cloak with roses.
Horrifying mask it's wearing. It's wearing a horrifying mask.
Is it wearing a mask?
Yes. But you only can see, like,
kind
half
of
it. And then it's, like, handing out roses. And all I can picture is this, like, a rose for your lady. Like, it's like freaking, like, the witch from Snow White.
Selina's like, oh, I'll get a rose. Like, I'll buy it. And, like, Bruce goes to grab it. It pricks him with the thorn.
Yes.
The person in the mask says, like, I am so sorry, the thorns. And he's like, oh, it's all right. I'm fine.
Yes.
Meanwhile...
Yes.
Meanwhile, we find out that Vernon is being paid by Maroney.
Yep.
He's giving information about the case to Maroney.
Yep.
Maroney's like, you got a date or anything, Vernon? You want to stay for dinner? Vernon's like, just to tell you. He's sniffing the money.
Right.
And he's like, he thinks that, you are the weak link. Maroney tells him to have the veal. Folks, don't have veal. That's cruel.
Try the veal.
Don't have veal.
It's our connection between Shrek and Batman. Try the veal.
Oh, you're right. They do say try the veal in that. Yeah. We haven't done Shrek yet, though. It's coming up.
Well.
Yeah.
He'll be there all week. Or he'll be there till Thursday, so.
Right.
Whenever that happens.
The next page is these group of guys in a car. I think it's Maroney's men. They're trying to figure out who Holiday is. But,
yeah, because I think they're just, like, staying outside the restaurant just in case anything happens.
Okay. Because they say, like, he'll kill us if he finds us in here. So is it some Maroney men and some Falcone men?
Oh,
like, I was
think,
a little
like,
confused.
they're meeting?
Yeah, I think they're meeting. Whatever a button man is.
It was a button man.
But
Maybe
anyway,
I don't know. Maybe they're not supposed to be.
I think
inside
they
the car.
are like.
I don't know.
I think they are like scoping the place out because they think Holiday's going to come, and naturally, that's exactly what happens. So another car pulls up, or something pulls up, shoots all these guys in the car, leaves them dead, blows the car up.
Yes.
And leaves a little box of chocolates, of course.
Of course.
Maroney, of course, is pissed off about this because it blew up the restaurant, too, that he owns. So, like, all the patrons are, like, trying to recover from being in this explosion. And he goes, it was Holiday. Okay, you want war? I'll give you a war!
Yep, pretty much.
There's a page of Jim Gordon coming home, getting the box of chocolates to Barbara. And then there's a page of Harvey coming home. He wakes up Gilda to have snoo snoo, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Oh, I'm absolutely sure. That look on his face, He's also, again, he's got one face in the light and one face in the dark.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce coming home. And Ivy, Poison Ivy, has entranced him?
Yes.
Because he doesn't say anything to Alfred, but like out in like the garden or something is just Poison Ivy, who's like all green and shit.
Yes.
And like flowing with leaves or something.
Right. She's like overgrown.
Yeah, so she's like poisoned him, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It was the prick on his finger.
Right. Yeah, like got the poison in him or something. So that is how that chapter ends, with Bruce embracing Poison Ivy, and like that leads us into chapter 6. One of my questions about chapter 6, Rachel, is going to be, because he's under the spell of Ivy from February 14th to March 17th because it's St. Patrick's Day, is chapter 6. Did Alfred not question how Bruce was behaving?
I'm surprised on his part too. What the hell are you up to, Alfred? How do you not know like that something's wrong with Bruce here? It's weird.
Yeah. Did you go on vacation or something?
I don't know.
Oh, Master Wayne, you know that the end of February I always go back to England, so I will be back in 3 weeks. Will you be okay? I don't think I know how to make a bowl of soup based on... So, probably not, Alfred. It's the most unrealistic thing about the Batman... What's it called? Batman Beyond. Because in Batman Beyond, it's like an old man Bruce, so like Alfred has died, and it's like, how does Bruce take care of himself? How does he not have another butler? It's like just him living in the mansion.
All he's eating is takeout.
That's probably true.
He hired a chef instead.
I order Uber Eats
for every meal.
So Rachel, chapter 6, St. Patrick's Day, your cover.
The cover is green. Poison Ivy has shamrocks all over for her hair, and she's wearing a Batman necklace. And it's all shrouded in darkness. And it's a Dark Night Halloween special. St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. And it begins with eyes behind a door, and they're saying step away from the door. So it's like at the asylum, or it's just the jail. It's Gotham Penitentiary. And they're leading away someone and giving them early parole, but we can't see who it is. And it's raining, and they're letting somebody out. And that's the first few pages.
Yes.
And they say, get in, he's waiting. And we find out, I think,
yes,
that this is Carmine's daughter.
I've missed you, Papa.
I missed you, Papa.
She's huge. Yeah.
So she is Sophia, and she is now out on parole. So I think Carmine pulled some strings to get her out because he thinks he needs like his Heavy, who is his daughter. The daughter, Rachel, describe.
Large woman.
Beastly bulging
woman. She has a beauty mark on her face.
Like almost like a China.
Yes, like a China-esque.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like if they would have done a live action Long Halloween in the early 2000s, you could have gotten Joni Laurer to play it.
Oh, probably. China, She-Hulkish.
Yeah, she's got that kind of build. Yeah.
The woman, oh God, you're going to have to remind me of her name. The actress from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's Brienne of Tarth. I can't remember the actress's name.
Brienne of Tarth-ish, because she's a very large woman that's like very like capable, you know.
Definitely.
I feel like all of that kind of like encompasses this, but she's also a mobster, so I feel like she's got that mobster like deep voice.
Definitely. Meanwhile, at the Gotham City Bank, Bruce is clearly like in like this trance, and he's saying like, after giving it much thought, I believe that our former bank president, Richard Daniel, was correct. Falcone Imports should do business with the bank. Thank you. I've transferred a wire for $350 million.
I've had a change of heart.
That's a lot of money, $350 million.
It is a lot of money.
Are they richer than Bruce? Like, Bruce is a billionaire, though, so I guess not. But so they're like, okay, this is great. Falcone Imports is huge, and we're all happy. Yeah, he leaves, and he ignores, in the bank is Selena, and it's like, Bruce, hello? And, like, Bruce ignores her completely. Yes. And he goes into a...
You can see that he has some, like, leaves coming out of his sleeve. And then he goes inside of a car. Yeah. Like almost a limo. Yeah. And you can see part of poison ivy inside of there.
And Selena sees it and she realizes that it's ivy.
Yes.
A lot of this is narrated in Bruce's head, so you get the thought boxes a lot of like, my mind is foggy, but
it's all green.
At peace, lost somewhere in the green. Like it's all that it's that noir.
Yes, absolutely.
They talk about how there's bodies piling up all over town now because Maroni thinks Falcone is backing the holiday killer because they killed Maroni's men. Mm-hmm. So now there's war going on between Maroni and Falcone. So this has caused a mob war, which is just causing a huge amount of shit. And Harvey says that, well, if they want to do our job for us, let them do it. And Gordon says, like, this isn't our jobs, we're not murderers. And Harvey goes, of course, don't give it a second thought. Again, with half his face in the shadows, Rachel. Yes. Just to keep that theory, or just to keep that going for you.
Right.
And he asks what they're going to do about Bruce Wayne. This panel is the one that I thought was a weird face on Harvey. Because he's going... with his... He's got, like, pursed lips, but his, like, bottom lip is inside, and he's like, oh, what are we going to do about Bruce Wayne? Like, that's how he seems to say it.
Yeah, that is a weird face on him here too. Yeah, it's just like that angle, I guess. I do like how Gordon looks though. Like that's a great panel for him, but that's a really bad panel for Harvey.
The one where he takes the glasses off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's gorgeous. A really good detailed panel of him. Yeah. And Gordon goes into this whole noir-esque speech about how when he grew up in Chicago, because notoriously they paint their river green in Chicago.
That's right.
For whatever God knows reason.
They still do.
And they love it. It's a big thing. And the schools close and all of this stuff. And he's like, St. Patrick's Day. We all think of green. Now it's red. Blood red. So it's very noir-esque. I think they're doing it because they can't do it with Bruce in this issue.
Right.
So they're doing it with Gordon.
Yes, I agree.
So they keep talking about, like, okay, we'll concentrate on Maroni, but they're like, we can get Maroni and we can get Wayne. Meanwhile, Carla is at a shooting gallery.
Oh, you forgot that his, like, weasel of a secretary is also listening to
Oh, them. Vernon's listening, okay. Yeah. We get the reuniting of Sophia and Carla. They're talking about how, like, don't forget that your brother Alberto was killed on New Year's with this gun. It's the same gun that killed Johnny. I'm going to use this gun to kill Holiday. This caphone. He calls him a caphone.
Yes.
Does my father know you have that? We're going to hit Maroni on St. Patrick's Day morning. Papa believes that Maroni either is Holiday or knows who it is. So I do like that Maroni thinks Falcone is doing it.
Right.
Falcone thinks Maroni is doing it.
Exactly.
So it's the perfect thing that you could do if you want these two factions to kill each other, right?
Yes. You let them do the dirty work.
But meanwhile, back at Wayne Manor, you see Catwoman's hand at the window, but Poison Ivy is in there and she's controlling Bruce. And she says, like, oh, do you have a draft? Is there a draft? Right. And I'm trying to figure out, like, what the end game was here, but before I can, Catwoman comes in and starts fighting Poison Ivy.
You want to know what the end game was when she says, like, oh, you have a healthy appetite. You're going to need that for...
I didn't think it was them hooking up. I think it was supposed to, like, she was going to make him do something. You don't think it was a
ploy and she's not just being sexual in this moment?
I'm not sure.
It could be both.
I'm actually, it could be both. It's probably both. It's Poison Ivy. It's probably both. So Catwoman starts fighting her, kicks her, calls her a weed.
I like
needs to
that.
Be torn out.
That's funny.
Bruce grabs Catwoman by the neck and, like, she does a meow. She goes, meow!
Yeah.
Then she starts fighting Bruce. So this is, like, the fourth fight between Catwoman and Bruce Wayne in this book. This is where I had to stop and ask you, Rachel. Because she slashes him open and is like, oh, hell.
Yes.
And she's like, ordinarily, I might enjoy this. Where she slashes up all this greenery. The shirt rips open, and it looks like he's been stuffed like an Invasion of the Body Snatcher's body.
It does. It really does. But I think he's just wearing like a bodysuit of Ivy's leaves to keep him controlled and contained. It's definitely not him like being sliced open.
Okay, because it looks a little like he's being sliced open.
Oh yeah, it does.
But she is able to stop.
I don't know why she would enjoy. I guess like ripping off his clothes. That's what she would enjoy.
Is that what that's referring to?
Maybe that's what she's meaning. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, usually I would enjoy taking your clothes off.
Okay, because I would say like it's that, or she just likes it rough, so she's like would enjoy both. Like scratching him. Yeah.
Yeah.
These two are pretty horny for each other. So
definitely.
You know.
Wouldn't they? I guess they don't do it as Batman and
they don't
and the Catwoman
do it.
But I'm just like
I'm
thinking,
sure.
Look,
in the 80 years, there is something where Batman and Catwoman have done it.
In this world right here, I don't think they've been having sex.
But I don't think so.
But I'm thinking like, you know that Selena and Bruce have. And if she also likes it rough and scratches his back, wouldn't she notice the scratch marks?
You think Selena and Bruce have?
Oh, absolutely.
He always goes like, "Oh, I gotta get going, Selena."
Yeah, but they have done. They've been in and out of each other's beds.
In and out. The old in out and out. So anyway, Ivy leaves, but she has saved Bruce. In the meantime,
we get the black and whites.
Black and white comes up. Some gunshots are done through the door of one of like the Maroni, where Maroni's men were going to be on St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. The chandelier is even shot out.
Yes.
And Holiday leaves this little leprechaun statue.
Yeah.
Creepy little leprechaun statue. Sophia pulls up because like this is where they were like going to do their thing, and they stop the car, and like they see that the little trinket is there, and Sophia just goes, "Someone beat us to the punch. This changes things," and they drive off. And you see Maroni all pissed off in like the window, like at the top floor, going,
like a broken window.
Holiday, yeah,
because he sees her.
Did he think it was her? Did he think like so. That means like it was okay? So it's like just gonna make things worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Catwoman used the bat signal. She turned it on.
I love that.
And Batman says it's not a toy. Has that ever happened in any of like the movies where Catwoman's turned the bat signal on, or even the animated series? If not, they need to do that.
They must have done that because that's like, just cute.
I like this. This is like a good bit where like
absolutely.
Catwoman knows like, I'll just turn the bat signal on. I'll get him out there.
I can get his attention that way.
Yeah. To your point, Rachel, does she know? Because he says, "Thank you." And she says, "For what?" And he goes, "Bruce Wayne is a friend."
Oh.
And she goes, "Oh." And he asks, "Why? Why do you help?" And she says, "You'll see in time." So she turns the bat signal on after she saves Bruce.
Yes.
She could have done that before she saved Bruce.
To have him help.
But she didn't. So I see your point of like, does she know maybe?
I think she knows. I think she knows, and he's her plaything, and she doesn't care.
And on the last page of the chapter, Carmine is giving money to Ivy.
Yes.
Everyone was against this idea. We have a sort of policy of not working with your kind, meaning the rogues and the monsters. Ivy says, like, well, if it weren't for Catwoman, we could have accomplished so much more. And he's like, we did enough. So now Carmine has stooped to a low, according to like him,
right,
where he needs the rogues of Gotham, the supervillains, help to get stuff accomplished. So he is losing his empire. Like, even if Gordon and Harvey and Batman don't realize it, like having to resort to those measures means that he's losing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's his low.
So Rachel, we are halfway through The Long Halloween, and just like the animated movie, it's gonna be a 2-parter.
Ooh.
So you're not gonna have to wait long for it, Rachel, or folks at home, really. But come back next time. Same shelf. Will they find the holiday killer? Will Kevin's microphone keep going out? Will Rachel and Kevin figure out how to do a proper accent for all of these characters? Find out! Same shelf life time? Not really. We're gonna do it like in a couple of days from this episode dropping. It's not gonna be an entire week. Same shelf life channel!
And awful accents stay the same. Awful accents.
That's a terrible Batman 66 voice too. But
all of them are awful. It's fine.
Just awful.
It's very stereotypical. It is
very stereotypical. It's how I would say.